were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the whole of the brave.
As only he can do, Tony Harrington gets the crowd ready for Stanley Cup playoff hockey here at the Civic Center. Tonight's officials, the referee is Ron Hogarth. The linesmen are Jim Christensen and Ron Finn. Starting in goal for the Quebec Nordiques, Mario Gosselin, who played in one game in this series last year. He came in a relief of Clint Malarchuk and surrendered 7 goals in the 9-4 clinching victory for the Whalers. He's playing in his 19th career Stanley Cup game. Mike Liut starts for the Whalers. You see his regular season numbers. Liut is playing in his 48th career Stanley Cup game. In his last 11 games against Quebec, he has a goals against him 2.59, so he has played very, very well against the Nordiques this year and certainly in last year's playoffs. The Whalers open up with Dean Evison at center, Sylvain Turgeon and Stu Gavin on the wings. Defensively, Dana Merzen and Ulf Samuelsson. With the puck, it's Michel Goulet. Out ahead for Lane Lambert. A late acquisition from the Rangers at the trading deadline. So then Turgeon back around for Samuelsson. Here's Gavin. Turgeon can't get to the pass. He almost recovered it. Jeff Brown gets it away. And Goulet races back to center. He gives it to Dale Hunter. Back to Goulet, and Dana Merzen stayed right with him well. Gavin, who's expected to play against Goulet quite a bit in this series, particularly here in Hartford. Here's Turgeon to Quenneville just off the bench. He can't one-hand it toward the net. And it's Basil McRae, the big left wing, to dump it in.
Rick, the first minute has absolutely been what it suggests, playoff hockey. That was a very good shift by both the Hunter line and the Everson line.
We've got some lineup changes to tell you about, and we'll run those down for you when we get the chance, as Kevin Dean almost ran into Ann Street there, trying to throw that check on Randy Mulder. Dave Babbage drives it on goal. Scott Kleinendorf is in the Hartford Whaler lineup tonight. Sylvain Cote is not suited up for this game, so both Babbage, who had been filling in for Kleinendorf, and Kleinendorf, who's been bothered with that bad left knee, he's got a sprained tendon, are skating tonight. Risto Siltanen, a Whaler for nearly 4 years, angles it out of his own zone. Montesour is paired with Kleinendorf. Robert Picard, who's played some of his best hockey this year against the Whalers, sends it in. Mike Huff with a backhand that's wide. Anton Stastny around for Huff. Looks for Peter. They score! Peter Stastny scores at the 158 mark. And we get Huff in there on Kleinendorf, who had taken a shot at Peter Stastny. Jerry, we expected a rough series, and certainly they haven't disappointed us right off the bat in that regard.
Well, let's not lose the fact, Rick, that it's 1-0 for the Nordiques. Young Huff made a tremendous pass to Stastny in front of the net, and as we said before the game, as they're still going at it here, Scott Kleinendorf, and who's he in there with? I don't think it's Peter Stastny. I think one of the defensemen came out to the point.
It's Mike Huff who made that play out of the corner to set up the goal. So we'll have the goal from Peter Stastny. Penalties also upcoming. It's 1-0 Quebec with not even 2 minutes gone.
After getting into a scrap with Scott Kleinendorf, after he made a tremendous play to set up Peter Stastny to give the Nordiques 1-goal lead. Let's look at it from a camera high up in the rafters here. Look at that terrific pass, and all Peter Stastny had to do was tip it past Liut. Mike Liut had no chance in it, as Randy Ladouceur is just a little late noticing where Peter Stastny is. And Rick, we said before the game, you have to know where the Stastny, Goulet, and Ogrodniks are at all time. You look around, you have to find them. Looks like Hogarth is going to call these penalties even, as this took place after the goal, and I'm sure that Huff and Kleinendorf will get 5 minutes each.
Peter Stastny with a goal from Huff and Anton Stastny at 1:59, and you're looking at Nordique captain Peter Stastny, who had an up and down season, and with only 76 points, Jerry, that's far below his normal standards. He's never missed the 100-point plateau in his 6 previous years.
Well, he had the broken thumb, I guess it was, Rick, and missed a lot of action. But I was talking to the writers before the game, the Quebec writers. They're my favorite writers in the league. They're all very cordial, congenial type people, and they said Peter Stastny in the last 10 days have really played up to the player he's supposed to be. And in fact, the writer told me, he said, Jerry, you'll see a little different Quebec team. They got spirit. They found some emotion in the last 10 days, and that always scares you with Quebec.
Here's Lane Lambert, as there's a shot saved by Liut on the try by Dale Hunter. Coincident penalties to Huff and Kleinendorf as Gavin cuts into the zone, lays it in front. It's batted away by Hunter. Merzen can't get to it in time. Nordiques have the early lead. Gavin is in for checking. Normand Rochefort jolts him. Here's Turgeon trying to roll it in front, and Rochefort takes over. Liut sets it up for Merzen. Lambert in there in pursuit. It's sent off Gavin's stick, and rookie defenseman Stephen Finn makes the play to Goulet. Here's Hunter. He didn't get all of that shot. Merzen out to the point. It's kept in by Randy Mulder. The shot is blocked by McDermott. Dave Tippett on the off wing leaves it for McDermott. McDermott centers. Jarvis deflects it in front, and it's steered away by Gosselin. Jarvis was hindered on his drive toward the net by John Ogrodnik, and we've got a holding penalty upcoming against Quebec. 16:59 to go in the opening period, and the Nordiques have a 1-0 lead.
Penalty on the Nordiques. This all took place as they're going towards the penalty box, and it involves Ronnie Francis, Dave Tippett, Dougie Jarvis, 3 guys who really don't get into the fighting thing. As Ogrodnik, he's not crazy about himself, but it was really, here's Basma, Gray, and McDermott. This will be the headliner right here. But
here's your heavyweight bout. McDermott, who loves to go with that left.
Rick, I guess you could have guessed this, and there'll be a lot of knocks in the game of hockey, but let's get it out of the way. We'll pack a lunch, have a little break. We'll get this game over with sooner or later. It'll be a good series, but hey, listen, this is high intensity. This is what happens.
Jarvis and Francis are working on Hunter. You see Ogrodnik and Samuelson dancing. Moeller squared off with Tippett, and I find it hard to believe that Randy Moeller couldn't find an opponent a little more to his size than Dave Tippett, who has not incurred a major penalty in his NHL career.
Didn't stop Tippett from going at him. He didn't back down. He went right in there. See, the key to this situation is that there is a penalty to the Nordique player, and he had to go right to the box. And this started with Hunter, believe me. We were watching the result of the penalties. Look at Hunter. He's actually squawking right there at Dougie Jarvis. Ogrodnik, he's
now linesman Jim Christensen stepped on a glove, and he goes down. Wow, we've played 3 minutes and 6 seconds here, and now Finn and Merzen are looking at each other. We'll be back with the result of this fracas right after this, with the Nordiques leading.
We're going to have to get more living quarters over there. Everyone on the ice has gone to the penalty box. And don't forget now, Huff and Kleinendorf were already in there, so there should be 6 players from each team in the penalty box. Hunter, McRae, and Ogrodnik. I don't know how Jarvis and Francis got on at the same time. That's beyond me. Oh, I know what it was. Because they had a delayed penalty, and Ronnie Francis come off the bench for Liut. But as we see in there, yes, there's 2, 4, there's 7. Well, they had an extra player, so the Whalers get 6 guys going to the box. I don't know. Let's count this again. The Whalers had an extra attacker because of the delayed penalty. So they have 6 men in the penalty box. The Nordiques have 5 in the penalty box. And as I look at the referee, we'll be here for an hour figuring this thing out, because I don't know how he's going to figure it out.
And add Kleinendorf and Huff to that, so
yeah, they're already in there. They're taken care of. original penalty was on, I believe, I thought it was McRae, but it could have been McRae because he didn't go right to the penalty box.
I think it was O'Grodnick.
O'Grodnick, you're correct. And but he come out of the box to fight because he was on the ice later on. So he should be gone, or I don't know.
I've got Hunter for high sticking.
Welcome to the playoffs, Ron Hogarth.
I think we just heard Hogarth say, I got Hunter for high sticking. First of all, we give O'Grodnick the holding penalty and Dougie Jarvis. Remember when Dougie took the pass from McDermott, a good pass, he was held. So that's the original play. Now he's got a slashing, high sticking penalty, excuse me, to Hunter. That's all we've heard so far. That's what started. It was Hunter and Francis over there, I believe. As we look at the little General Bergeron, I should say, and you kind of knew his team was going to come out like that, and you kind of knew that the Whalers were going to come out. Hey, when you get 20 guys in the ice that they know the importance, and when you mention Stanley Cup, this happens. But get it over with, and we'll have a terrific series.
Peter Stastny has the only goal. He scored at 1:59 from Huff and Anton Stastny. But these two teams know each other like a book. They played 8 games in the regular season. They played last season 8 in the regular season, 3 more in the playoffs. Of course, the Whalers scored the stunning 3-game sweep, and they upset the then Adams Division champion Nordiques. Here's a call on the penalties.
McDermott for fighting, 5 fighting. And I've got Samuelson for third man.
Rick, as early as the Nordiques scored.
Game misconduct.
Who got the game misconduct?
Samuelson, third man in. Well, we'll be back with further results on these penalty calls in just a moment. It's 1-0 Quebec.
It's gone up on the Islanders 1-0. Samuelson gets a game misconduct. You understand that.
The initial penalties in this game, Huff and Kleinendorf's got double minors.
Yeah.
4 minutes each. So just update you on that as Peter Stastny and Joel Quenneville hear Ron Hogarth's decision.
When Mahler and Tippett were going at it, I think that's when Samuelson jumped in. Pretty sure.
That could have been it, because everyone was just grabbing anybody that was around, and pretty soon the players started going from one pile up to another, so it was very difficult to tell who was involved in what. But you see Ulf Samuelsson gets the third man in.
This is a tough call for the Whalers. I'm not so sure it's correct or not. I did see Ulfie trying to help Tippett, but nevertheless, it's a tough blow for the Whalers, losing a guy like him, because you know what his energy's like during a game like this. He's an all-out guy.
And he's obviously very upset with only 3 minutes gone in the playoffs, and he's given the boot.
He did the right thing regardless. It's tough to, you want to be in the game, but when you see a big guy like Muller taking on a little guy like Tippett, someone's supposed to get in there.
Roughing and high stick. So she should all even out, boys.
Okay.
Make sure we've got the correct number.
2 minutes going up.
Pardon? No, I'm sorry. We had the original 2.
Imagine
so
that.
that's even
Should
now.
all even out
Nothing
until
is
Joel
going up on
Quenneville
the top.
reminded
It's
him
all
about
even.
the original
All right, we
penalty.
got 5 Whalers and 4. 5 and 5.
He still maintains it's all even, though.
2-2.
Even though Quebec got the original penalty, he's explaining to Joel now that he still thinks it's all even.
Well, that must be
Doesn't
because
think so. He made the call.
Yeah. That's because the Whalers had an extra man on the ice, I guess. He's given everyone roughing penalties, so the 6th man got 2 minutes, and that'll equal the holding penalty, original holding on O'Grodnick.
Quenneville brings the bad news toward Jack Evans.
I've got 1 extra Whaler penalty. The extra 2 minutes you gave on Samuelson, roughing and high sticking.
Okay, no roughing on Samuelson.
No roughing. Okay.
Should be all even.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Rick, we should mention, too, now that these are neutral timekeepers. These guys, I think, are from the Rangers. Aren't they the Rangers time people?
The off-ice officials are from the New York Rangers. It's kind of a mix. There are a couple of Whaler people in that box and in the press box, and the goal judges certainly are gentlemen who work the Ranger games at Madison Square Garden.
Because we looked at the Whalers in the penalty box there. I mean, how would you ever guess that Dougie Jarvis and Dave Tippett would be in there in a scrimmage like this?
23, 29 is in here. He's got him down. I don't have him down.
You want him out of there?
29?
Yeah, Finn.
He really didn't have to call every guy in the ice for roughing, even though legally you might have did it. You know, give Muller and Tippett a penalty, and give McDermott and McRae a penalty, and forget it. This game would have been halfway through the first period by now.
That, or you hand out a couple of misconducts to a couple of people that were looking to start the trouble, and then things hopefully begin to settle down.
You know, it's amazing that they got Muller. He likes to get in trouble. They got Hunter. He loves it. They got McRae. He loves it. Who the Whalers got? Dougie Jarvis, maybe Tippett, Ronnie, Francis. You know,
better believe two gentlemen sitting next to each other on the Whalers player bench, number 22 and number 72. We're itching to get out there, but Shane Sherlett is suited up for this with Dave Semenko, and they will comprise the fourth line with Ray Ferraro, and you see them comparing notes.
Well, I think if you were to look at their hockey stick, there'd be some big hunks out of it by now.
There are the penalties. Quebec penalty number 21, Randy Muller, 2 minutes for roughing. Number 32, Dale Hunter, 2 minutes for high sticking, 2 minutes for roughing. Number 25, John Ogrodnik, 2 minutes for holding, 2 minutes for roughing. Number 17, Basil McRae, 5 minutes for fighting. Hartford penalties, number 15, Dave Tippett, 2 minutes for roughing. Number 27, Doug Jarvis, 2 minutes for roughing. Number 4, Dana Merson, 2 minutes for high sticking, 2 minutes for roughing. Number 10, Ron Francis, 2 minutes for roughing. Number 5, Wolf Samuelson, 2 minutes for high sticking, and a game misconduct, third man in.
This all started because Hunter and Merson. That's how it started, because they got the 2 minutes for high sticking, and everything joined in.
Ron Hogarth was not a popular man among the Nordiques in this building in Game 3 last year. You might recall he called back-to-back minor penalties on the Nordiques while he was falling down and lying in the corner, and gave the Whalers back-to-back power plays on which they scored, and they served to vault the team to a 9-4 series clinching victory here, and now he is certainly not very popular among the home crowd.
For each side.
I think Ron Hogarth's role in life really
2-minute penalties for each side. That's right. But you want, I thought the Whalers...
Not the case tonight. I mean,
2 minutes.
he's certainly not popular tonight.
Okay.
That's not his job. He has seen fit to
2 minutes for roughing.
even things out. Add Finn to your
Quebec. Number 21, Muller, 2 minutes for roughing. Number 32, Hunter, 2 minutes for high sticking, 2 minutes for roughing. Number 25, Ogrodnik, 2 minutes for holding, 2 minutes for roughing. Number 29, Steve Finn, 2 minutes for roughing. And number 17, McRae, 5 for fighting. For Hartford, number 15, Dave Tippett, 2 for roughing. Jarvis, 2 for roughing. Merson, 2 for high sticking, 2 for roughing. Francis, 2 for roughing. McDermott, 5 for fighting. And Samuelson, 2 for high sticking, and a game misconduct, third man in. All the penalties at 3 minutes and 6 seconds.
That's a tough call, Rick, the game misconduct.
Who do you single out? Was it that obvious? I mean, everybody was grabbing everyone, but
I think when Muller and Tippett went at it, that's when Samuelson decided to go in.
well, you had Jarvis and Francis working on Hunter. You had two Nordiques working on a Whaler at one point. Now we've got penalties coming to Anton Stastny, and Kevin Dennis is going to go on all night. This makes 56 minutes in penalties in the first 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Because we look down at the players' benches, if we can get a look at the players' benches, they're half empty. We only got, not including Weeks, the Whalers only got 6 guys left in the bench, and the Nordiques got 7. As Goulet comes out now to play with Peter Stastny and Alain Cote, and Jack Evans will send out the Dean Evison line with Sly Turgeon and Stu Gavin. But those benches are, wow.
Now, tell me this, Jerry. Coincident minor penalties. In many cases here, 2 minutes. What does that do? I mean, that doesn't serve any purpose. These guys are back out in 2 minutes and ready to start more. Here's Babbage with a shot that's wide. Gosselin taps it away to Peter Stastny.
You might be right, Rick. The best thing what it did was to maybe give a couple of guys misconducts, because no one wants to spend 10 minutes in the box.
You can tell right off the bat who wants to battle and who wants to play hockey in this group here. Here's Lambert with a pass in front, knocked away by Babbage, and out to center and into that sparsely populated Whaler bench.
You know, if you take Dineen and Stastny right there, they got the sticks up, we're slashing each other a bit. I mean, they're supposed to get 10 minutes each. That would have settled the whole thing down. Kevin, you got 10. Anton Stastny, you got 10. Now, no one's going to go out there and fool around behind the play and do this stuff because you don't want to lose 10 minutes. Uh-oh.
You better make room for possible another occupant to that penalty box. Shane Churla has stepped on. He's on with John Anderson, Dean Evison. Montesour and Quenneville work behind him. Greg Malone, the former Whaler, is suited up. He's been in Fredericton most of the season in the American League, and he is skating between Paul Gillis and Alain Cote. So everyone's got to juggle it up here. Brown and Rochefort on the defensive tandem. Don't lose sight of the fact that it's 1-0 Quebec. Here's Gillis center. On the backhand, Malone lets it go wide. Shane Churla. But Cote digging it out for Rochefort. He sails it over the net. And Anderson sweeps it out to center. Alain Cote. And Cote backhands it in. Montesour's back for it. Gillis keeps the play in. Quenneville starts it out to Anderson. Shane Churla pushes it in deep in the Quebec zone as Ferraro is in there battling with Risto Silton in the pass to Anderson. Cote is back there to dig it free. Can't get it by Babbage. His shot is blocked. Anderson with his pass knocked down by Silton. Around to Gillis. Greg Malone, the veteran. Rubbed out by Montesour. Dave Babbage on the carry for the Whalers. Big drive, and it's off the stick of Mario Gosselin. He deflects it to rookie Jeff Brown. It reaches Babbage. Poked away. Peter Stastny scoots in. Lambert's alone, and he missed the net. Stastny centers. It's taken Rochefort with a shot that's blocked by Evison. Brown races, and he gets there ahead of Turgeon. Goulet is offside. Now Peter Stastny and Gavin behind the play, and they take shots at each other. Rochefort doesn't like that.
Rick, meanwhile, there's been 2 good scoring chances in this game. Both revolving around Peter Stastny. Got the first goal, and just then he made a terrific play to Lambert, who missed the net.
You've heard of the old college trick. See how many people you can stuff into the Volkswagen. Promotion here at the Civic Center after this.
Are going to go on a power play here. Stastny's going to get an extra 2 minutes for cross-checking as he cross-checked Stu Gavin up around the facial area, and that's where Stu took exception to it, and he drilled Stastny, and they both got 2 minutes for roughing, but Stastny gets the extra 2 minutes, so the Whalers will go on a power play, and as we can see, Michel Bergeron is really not crazy about that call, or else he is going crazy over that call.
One way or the other, Jerry, when you get over 60 minutes in penalties called in the first 5 minutes and 11 seconds, somebody had to start something, and this is the first power play opportunity to come out of any of this.
Rick, they played 5 minutes in Montreal, and Montreal's leading 2-0.
Somebody's playing hockey.
They started at 6 o'clock tonight.
Oh, okay.
No. Well, our direct Washington's leading 2-0, and we've just been informed it's 3-1 Montreal.
1-0 Quebec. Michel Bergeron is upset. But a number of those players have left the penalty boxes, and now we've got Picard and Dineen. Now Gillis wants to go over and say something to Dineen. Let's play hockey. Dave Babich and Francis are the point men. Now we've got Picard and Dineen battling. Now how long is this going to go on?
Well, obviously Quebec thinks that Kevin Dineen's a pretty good guy to get off the ice, and they're correct. Kevin's got to watch himself, especially on this power play. Let's watch it. Let's watch it. This happened and started right before they dropped the puck, Picard and Dineen. Here we are. This is a great shot right here. Now Kevin takes it. Now this is all that happens. They get against the board. Kevin's got to stick up a little bit, gives a little push, but they each got 2 minutes for what you just saw right there. I really don't think that would need to be called as you look at Kevin's reaction to the call. Kevin's got to stay on the ice. You know, Kevin had a great year not getting involved in situations like this and had a terrific year. We all know how valuable Kevin is on the ice.
So the Whalers continue with a man advantage. 1:49 left on the extra minor to Peter Stastny. Slashing penalties to Dineen and Picard. Ray Ferraro hands it to Babich. He winds it in for Semenko. Ferraro lost the handle. Ray gets it back. He's got Alain Cote on him. Moeller digs it free. Anderson cuts through there. Here's Gillis to clear it for the Nordiques. Quebec, second best in the league killing penalties this year. 83.6% efficiency. Their special teams were very effective. At a +24. Power play goals allowed this season. So they're going to be tough in that department. And the puck is sailed out of play. 1:02 remaining on the extra minor to Peter Stastny. We look at Ray Ferraro, who led the team with 14 power play goals among his 27. Despite very limited ice time.
Whoops, Washington got another goal. 3-0 Washington early in the game. Games going on in the NHL tonight. They'll all be good hockey games too. Once we get down to playing hockey, this will be a good game.
I hope that's going to happen very shortly. Turgeon, Ferraro, and Anderson.
I'm looking over at the penalty box of the Nordiques and the Whalers, and they look like the team benches.
They're not regulation size. Puck is cleared by Michel Goulet, and Francis takes it. Babich drives it in. Moeller slips it to Goulet. He hands it to Gillis. Paul Gillis drives it off the webbing of Liut's glove. The Nordiques change up in the penalty killing unit as Francis brings it out. The Whalers on the man advantage this year, 11th best in the league as Turgeon snaps one off, and it's gloved by Gosselin. He will hang on to it. Whalers at 20.7% efficiency, 20.1% here at home.
Whalers have had a tough time in this first minute and 33 seconds gaining any control in the Nordique end in their power play. The Nordiques are doing something that I haven't seen them do over the course of the years is when they're setting up, killing the penalty, as the Whalers come out of their end, they have their two forwards just in front of their two defensemen. The two defensemen at their blue line, the two forwards. They are not, in other words, they are not chasing the puck down to the Whaler end. They're just lining up in a little box type situation in front of their blue line. Now, to beat this, the Whalers are going to have to recognize it first of all and shoot it in with the offside guy, two people going to the outside retrieving the puck. In other words, Ronnie Francis is going to have to come down left wing when he recognizes this and drive it along the boards with the Kevin Dineen and a Ray Ferraro or whatever, the centerman going on the other side retrieving it.
Francis goes against Gillis, and Gillis controls the face-off. Rochefort backhands it around for Malone. He's bumped by Ladouceur. And it's sent the rest of the way down the ice by Gillis, and only 16 seconds remain on the Hartford power play with Quebec leading 1-0 and 7 minutes gone in the first period. Babich gives it to Turgeon. Babich got a piece of it. Turgeon can't keep it in. And back Stastny as he fought his way through the crowd to get out of the box. It's sent in on goal by Latour. It's gloved by Gosselin. Steers it away, but Turgeon's there. Gives it to Anderson. Here's Francis. The pass was blocked by Malone. Turgeon with his pass that hit Malone's skate. Greg Malone can't get it out. Babbage keeps it in. Francis to Anderson. Here's Babbage, has the room, and he sails it wide. Penalty upcoming to Quebec. Lea's trying to get off for the extra man. Here's Anderson. Cote will control it, and we've got a holding penalty coming up against the Nordiques. So another Whaler power play opportunity is coming up. 12-12 to go in the first, and the Nordiques lead it 1-0.
Hi, I'm Kevin Dineen of the Hartford Whalers. Right now at Mitchell Pontiac in Simsbury, they're having a playoff special, giving extra low prices on all their great Pontiacs, from the popular Grand Am to the all-new Bonneville. And during their special, Mitchell will give a $100 gift certificate for dinner at Hopbrook Restaurant right here in Simsbury. So come on down for Mitchell.
Get a whale deal.
All right.
During the playoffs, visit Mitchell of Simsbury on Route 10 for a whale of a deal.
Quebec will be going, or I should say the Whalers will be going on another power play as Randy Moeller got 2 minutes for holding. He's big number 21 when we get a chance to see it. This is the shot over the net. You see him right in front of the net as he's got Turgeon right there, and this is no argument, a hold. And the hand of Ron Hogarth goes in the air to signal a penalty against the Nordiques.
That makes 68 minutes in penalties, whistled in the first 7:48 tonight. Only one misconduct out of that, and 2 majors.
That would average out to about 523 minutes a game, I think.
We're in for a long series. Here's Ferraro on the draw. It's sent back to center. Merzen and Francis are out the points. Dineen is finally out and able to play with Ferraro and Anderson. Here's the pass for Anderson. Ferraro pursues. Picard wraps him up. Dineen flips the puck away. Centers, and it's off the stick of Alain Cote. Merzen to Dineen. Here's Francis in front. Anderson deflects it over top of the goal. It's chopped back to Dineen. Anderson controls it. Out to Merzen. The wrist shot. And a save by Gosselin with Ferraro run on the doorstep. Francis again takes the shot, and Cote went down to block it. Ronnie keeps it moving. Anderson to Dineen, and he pulls the trigger wide. Ferraro to Dineen. Fires, and it's blocked by Brown. Dineen again. 1:05 left on the penalty to Moeller. Dineen with a poke check by Gosselin. Lost the puck, and it's recovered by Brown. Gosselin nearly kicked it into his own net.
Rick, I do not believe that did not go in. From our view up here, it looked like it had to go in. I do not know how it stayed out.
Merzen guides the play in, and Hunter hustles back. Can't get it by Babbage. Here's Ferraro. Got Turgeon shooting, and it's just kicked out. Is that ever his spot or what? Here's Turgeon. He's checked. Babbage lets it go, and Hunter blocks it. The lead for Goulet is behind him, and Ferraro gets it back to Babbage. 20 seconds to go in the power play. Quebec leads 1-0 midway through the first. Gosselin tees it up for Picard. He's hammered by Gavin, and the play is blown dead, and there looks like there's a problem with the net. Boy, I don't know.
Neither do I, but actually, okay, we're going to have a look and see what happened to their net. As the Dean Evison, oh, I see right here, actually didn't come off because it fell right back into place as Evison and Picard were dueling behind the net. Gosselin got trapped, hit the back of the net, and we'll see it's about 3 or 4 inches up. That was actually a break for the Whalers because the Nordiques were about to ice it. At least they get a draw inside the Nordique zone.
Jerry is staying corrected at 70 minutes in penalties. I know you're keeping track of them. As the Whalers have Gavin Evison and Turgeon finally reunited. 10 seconds to go in the penalty. Mario Gosselin has survived some harrowing moments around his net early on, and now he is complaining of a problem with his left hand, but Ron Hogarth says we've had enough delays. Let's get going.
I don't believe that shot did not go in. I saw it. He must have fell backwards, and somehow his rear end must have landed on it and squirted it it loose or something. That's the only way I can think of it, how the puck didn't go in.
He fell at just the right time because it was heading toward the net. It's like a reverse poke check. Here's Lanasur over to Kleinendorf. Gotti lets it fly. Glove by Gosselin. He doesn't hesitate in hanging on.
One of the things that the Nordiques are doing, I'm sure it's a plan, and it's designed, and they've been told by the coach. Every time you go near a Whaler in our end, you take them out. You crush them against the boards to the best of your ability. And that's what they've done in the first 10 minutes. Don't play the puck. Play the man you're going after. There's been they've played that very well in this first 10 minutes.
I can't argue with Bergeron's strategy in trying to get the Whalers off stride, but the means has been a little strange, but it takes two to tango, and the Whalers certainly have been as much involved in this as Quebec has. But both these teams, knowing each other as well as they do, want to establish their territory. Gillis and Evason on this faceoff. Gavin sends it back to Kleinendorf. Turgeon with a penalty over to Moeller. Turgeon tees it up, blocked by Rochefort, and now we've got a high sticking call upcoming against Quebec. Well, the Nordiques certainly one of the better penalty killing teams in the league, if not one of the best. Certainly relying on that a lot here in this first period.
They have to be a good penalty-killing team because of the penalties they take. We're going to see Moeller, who just exited from the penalty box, heading right back in with a high sticking call. I'm sure, yes, it is a high sticking call. I don't know how long their penalty killing can last, but sooner or later the Whalers got to score them. I mean, if they have an advantage of 3 or 4 to 1 and power play advantage in the first period to come out here with down by a goal, that's very deflating. That makes this dressing room seem very tough.
Michel Bergeron says, I'm due for a couple of calls here. Well, the Whalers coming out of their home ice, you better believe they wanted to come out, breathe a little fire, use that speed to good effectiveness. The Nordiques certainly have done their part in holding them up. And we've had one delay after another. Now Gosselin wants to retape a few fingers.
You see when you tape the fingers like that, when I played goal, I could never do it because I never caught the puck very often. Really, I use my stick more than my catching mitt. But all that does is save the stinging. You know, all the baseball players, they wear the glove. A lot of goaltenders can't wear gloves, so they just put tape around their fingers so it stops. And he has caught in the last couple of minutes, caught a couple of bullets, and that just takes the stinging away.
As you see, the Whalers have been blanked in their first 2 opportunities. Gillis and Ferraro are on this face-off. It's pushed back to Babbage. He shoots and it's wide. Dale Hunter, who missed 34 games with a broken ankle, digs for that puck, and he gets the interception. Hunter back with Rochefort. Rochefort shoots, saved by Liut, and he covers the puck, keeps it moving to Babbage.
That was a good effort by Rochefort. He put his head down right from his own blue line and skated into the pass by Hunter.
Rochefort once again with a puck. Nordiques change up on the penalty killing unit. They send out Goulet to join Alain Cote. Here's Dave Babbage. Sends Anderson in. Tries to spin away from the rookie Steve Finn. Then he gives it to Ferraro, and he just had it poked out of his reach by Finn. Michel Goulet races back against Babbage. Takes the shot. Stick save by Liut. Goulet again, and Mike Liut holds him off. Merzen angles it out to Gavin. Gavin leaves it for Turgeon. The shot, and he just whistles it wide. Merzen in for Turgeon. 38 seconds to go on the penalty. Evason Lesueur with a shot that's wide. Picard tangles with Turgeon. Gavin had it swatted away by Finn. Finn gets it out to Goulet, and he clears it.
Rick, I'll tell you one thing. Goulet, killing penalties. He's working his butt up. I've never seen him work this hard.
Well, this certainly is a team with a purpose and a team with a mission, the Quebec Nordiques. Here's a pass out to Lesueur. He feeds it to Evison. And the puck taken away by Picard. He tried to throw it ahead as the penalty to Moeller expires. And now we've got Ron Hogarth blowing the whistle and indicating another penalty. And this one, it looks like it's going to...
I know for sure Evison's going to get one, but Gillis is getting one with them also. I'm sure it's going to be high sticking and roughing, or a couple of high sticking penalties.
They'll come at 11:58. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Hartford Whalers and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Hartford Whalers and Sports Channel is prohibited. It's an agitated Whaler bench looking on as Evison joins Gillis in the box.
Look, here's the penalties at the sideboards. Evison and Gillis. There's a stick up by Gillis to start it, and Dino gets his start up right there in retaliation. Nothing you can do there. Both go to the box. 2 minutes high sticking. Rick, the Whalers have to be careful of one thing right now. We know of the power of Stastny, Goulet, Ogrodnik. The Whalers have had 3 power plays, nothing to, no good results from them, and sooner or later they're going to get a penalty. They got to make sure that the penalty they take is a good one. It's a scoring chance. They don't want to take any hooking penalties in the Nordique end or a tripping penalty at center ice. They're in a position now they have to take good penalties if they're going to take them.
Anderson, Francis, and Deneen work in front of Quenneville and Babbage. As Lambert sends it in. Hunter had it swatted away. Rochefort keeps it in. Shoots, save by Liu. Quenneville takes care of the rebound. Francis rushes back at a 3-on-2. Anderson fires in front, and Deneen couldn't get turned around against Normand Rochefort. 1-0 Quebec. 7:35 to go here in the first period. It's been a rough one. 74 minutes in penalties called. Mostly minor penalty infractions. There's a pass in front that nearly deflected into the Quebec goal off Mike Huff's skate. Peter Stastny to Anton. Fires in front, and it's deflected out to Anderson. He cuts it against Silton, and they were traded for each other in March of last season. Anderson, a great effort, and a stop by Gossel, and a try by Jarvis. John Anderson, a tremendous effort there to get that puck out in the goal mouth. What a reaction stop by Gossel.
Certainly did, and that was there's going to be a penalty here to the Whalers. An elbow probably to Deneen. As Kevin took an awful shot, I think it was at Picard as he was going for the change. And he got the elbow up, and as I said, Rick, this was behind the play. This had nothing to do with the play, and he's going to take 2 minutes for elbowing. But anyway, getting back to the save on Jarvis by Goslin, that was certainly his best save of the game after 13 minutes and 13 seconds. A tremendous save, and all it was a reaction. We're going to see the good work by Anderson behind the net. He just keeps bulldogging it, and he finally gets a puck out to Dougie Jarvis. Quick shot. From here, it looked like maybe the defense, we'll get a better look at it here, the defenseman saved it. I thought originally that Goslin made a tremendous save, but here's the sweep pass out front. Here's the shot. Oh, no, he did. Goslin got his pad on it. As we see Kevin Deneen and Picard, they were going at it pretty good for this first part of the period.
Well, it's just Deneen who goes off, so the Nordiques come up with a power play opportunity at 13-13. Here's Ogrodnik across to Silton. There's as much talent on this power play as you can find. I guess with the exception of Basil McRae, whose role is just to stand in front of the net and interfere. But Goulet, Peter Stastny, Ogrodnik, and Silton are masters in these situations. We'll see how the Whaler penalty killing unit can handle it. Ogrodnik sends it in. Kleinendorst tangles it off Ogrodnik's stick. Goulet to Ogrodnik, and for Peter Stastny. They've got McRae lodged in front. The pass comes to Goulet. Can't get much of a backhander away. Jarvis gets it free to Tippett. And Tippett with a great move on Ogrodnik. Takes on Siltanen. And Siltanen dumps him. That goes uncalled. Back comes Basil McRae. Goulet sends it back to Ogrodnik. Shoot it. And it's blocked by Quenneville. We welcome our national audience from ESPN here in the first period with 5:34 to go in it. Quebec leads 1-0 on a Peter Stastny goal. Quebec is on the power play for another 40 seconds. And it's been a penalty-filled first period. We've had 78 minutes in penalties called by referee Ron Hogarth. And the pushing and tugging and holding and clutching continues. And finally, Joel Quenneville lands on the loose puck. We get a whistle, but not before Paul McDermott, or pardon me, Randy Ladouceur and Basil McRae find each other. Teammates earlier in the season in Detroit.
This is after Hogarth decided to blow the whistle very quickly in this play, as the puck was still loose when he blew it. He's doing his best to make sure a lot of the stuff that happened earlier in the game doesn't continue to happen. I don't think there will be any resultant penalties here. Oh yeah, he's going to call him.
Wow.
He's going to call McRae for sure, as he was the first guy into the melee behind the net. And he'll probably call Randy Ladouceur.
Kevin Dineen is in the box for 29 seconds. The Whalers have had 3 power play opportunities and have been held off on all 3. Have not been able to muster all that many opportunities. Mario Gosselin, though, has had some harrowing moments to survive around his net. He almost poke-checked the puck into his own goal, if that's possible.
2 major saves of Gosselin in this first period have been very unorthodox. I mean, he was completely outbalanced. He was falling, fell backwards one time, and that allowed him to make the save on Dineen. He's just a little guy, and you got to wear him down. You got to keep driving towards the net. As we look at Basil McRae, who was on the Nordique power play, and I don't think he is on the power play for his finesse. He was on it for his work in front of the net.
Off the face-off, Dave Tippett, who's working with Doug Jarvis up front to take care of the rest of the Dineen penalty. 22 seconds left on it. Quenneville and Babbage back them up on the Quebec power play. You've got the Stastny brothers, Finn and Brown at the points, and Hunter joining the Stastnys up front. Here's Brown. He gives it to Dale Hunter. Mike Huff is now in the power play, as Hunter is bumped by Quenneville. Penalties over to Dineen as Francis touches the puck, and the play is offside.
This will be a 2-line pass. You don't see this very often, the pass being behind the red line to the other side of the opposition's blue line. But nevertheless, it's a 2-line pass.
Ron Francis, who was not healthy for this series last year. Actually, he was hurt in the 3rd period of Game 1 in a check by Paul Gillis, and fractured a couple of ribs, and played the remaining 9 Whaler playoff games with that injury. And of course, he was still coming off that broken ankle, so certainly the Whalers are pointing to an advantage of the Francis factor being healthy for this series.
We should give a little credit to Joel Quenneville on that last power play by the Nordiques. He was all over the place. He blocked shots, he interfered, he iced it a couple times. He had a heck of a 2 minutes killing that penalty, and I think it was for the whole 2 minutes also.
Dave Semenko comes in for a draw against Paul Gillis. Randy Mulder sends it across to Normand Rochefort. He's belted by Gavin. Alan Cote, one of the top defensive forwards in the league, drives it on net, and Liu steers it away. Scott Kleinendorst is playing with an injured left knee tonight. They didn't think he'd be able to go, but he's going to try it. He's out there, and he gives Cote a rough ride. Dana Merzen backhands to the line. Gavin hustles to get it out. Here's Semenko. 4:14 to go in the first. It's 1-0 Nordiques as Semenko throws it in. It's slapped to the point and out by Muller. Both teams go for changes. Stastnys and Huff are on for Quebec. Here's a lead for Dineen as he steps on. Kevin Dineen shoots. Glove by Gosselin. He doesn't hesitate in holding on to it.
Good strategy by the young goaltender. When you're really undecided what you want to do, you got to hold on to it, especially in Stanley Cup playoffs. You know, one year we played the Chicago Blackhawks, and we had been off for seven days. We felt we were going to be really stale and all that, so I went up to the coach, I think it was Sinden at the time. I said, I'm going to freeze the puck as much as possible in the first period, right? Just I don't want to take any chances on our end. I froze it 22 times. That's something they put a rule in, and saying the goaltender's got to keep the play moving.
The Jerry Cheevers rule. Looking at Peter Stastny facing off against Ron Francis. That's a matchup that Jack Evans wants. He's going to be able to get it here in home ice, certainly. He wants that size and strength of Francis and the all-around abilities of Ronnie out against the dangerous Stastny. Aristo Siltanen.
Rick, Peter Stastny's played better in his first 13 minutes or 16 minutes than he has all season, I believe, from what we've seen of him anyway.
Mike Huff is in trouble, but he managed to get it away from John Anderson. Anton Stastny fires it to center ice. Dave Babbage gives it to Francis. Quebec has outshot the Whalers 11-7 thus far. Babbage sends it to Dineen. Anton Stastny poked it away to older brother Peter. Babbage has it back. Anderson on the off wing. He's forced to center. Babbage plays it into Quebec territory. Whalers going with 5 defensemen now after an early scuffle in which several players were penalized. In fact, all the skaters on the ice were sent into the box by Ron Hogarth. Ulf Samuelsson was given a game misconduct for being the third man in the altercation. Evison is rocked by Rochefort. Here's Gavin shooting, blocked by Brown. Rochefort with a long lead for Hunter. Evison without a stick, trying to check him, and the puck crossed the goal line, but the net was obviously moved away from the magnets on the collision. The Nordiques are protesting, but Ron Hogarth, right off the bat, waved it off.
I don't think it went in anyway, Rick. I think the Nordique player just tried to confuse things by putting his hands in the air. Once again, there's little Dale Hunter as he's going after Evison, who has broken his stick, and he one-hands it out in front. Now the puck, we'll see, goes right under Dana Mersden and Liu, but I do not believe this went in at any time. Mersden will end up with a holding penalty after all this.
Quebec will go in the power play for the second time in this first period as we look at Lane Lambert, who scored a hat trick in the final regular season game. Here's the collision.
This is a very good example of why these nets should be the way they are in this new magnet mooring right here. The old way that net is anchored down, a guy like Lambert right there could get hurt awful bad.
Jerry, it's been a tough, grinding style, obviously, to the first period thus far, and you feel that favors Quebec so far in this one.
Well, I think Quebec's played awful well in this first period, and I think they've set out to do what they intended to do, and that's be very tough in their end. Take the body and wait for the breaks, and that's exactly what's happened.
Ogrodnik cranks one just wide. Here's Siltanen. He and Brown are the point men. Jeff Brown shoots. Pad save by Liut. Quenneville gets to the rebound. Jeff Brown keeps it in. The 20-year-old hands it to Peter Stastny. They've got Goulet parked in front. Keep an eye on him. Here's Peter Stastny to Ogrodnik. And Goulet was well tied up by Kleinendorst. He couldn't get a shot away. Tippett with 3 short-handed goals this year for the Whalers. Swings in with Jarvis. Can't quite split the defense. Gosselin turns it away to Ogrodnik.
Good work by Scott Kleinendorst in front of the Whaler net. He knew where Goulet was at all times.
Peter Stastny sends it back to Siltanen. He sends one just wide. Jeff Brown. In for Ogrodnik. The pass is tipped. It rolls to Evison, and he'll slide it down the ice with a minute remaining in the Mersden holding call. And 1:20 to go in this first period. Quebec leading 1-0.
Pretty good work by the Whalers killing the penalty. They're very patient in their end.
Liut leads it as Quenneville drives it, but not out. Picard kept it in. Ogrodnik. A minute to go in the period. 34 on the penalty. Ogrodnik with his pass reaching Peter Stastny out to Picard. He risks it toward the net, hoping for a deflection. Didn't get it. Then, in his attempt to keep it in, chipped it over the glass and out of play. We look at penalty killer extraordinaire Dave Tippett. Will remind you that for exclusive coverage of Hartford Whalers playoff action, join us again tomorrow night right here at the Hartford Civic Center as the Whalers face off against the Nordiques in Game 2 of this best-of-7 division semifinal series. Ahead of the game will air at 7:15 p.m. .24 seconds to go on the penalty to Merzen. Finally, we will reach the intermission. 48 seconds to go in the first period that has taken almost an hour to play.
I think our clothes are getting out of date.
The wide lapels back in. Here's Anton Stastny. Gives it to McRae. Then over to Siltanen. Peter Stastny. Siltanen one-times it. Stick save by Liut. Few people in the league one-time it as well as Siltanen. As the penalty's over to Merzen. Here's Tippett. Back with Ronnie Francis. Siltanen ties up his former teammate. Curlin's in there to stir something up. Anton Stastny in a three-man rush. Hands it to McRae. Good coverage by the Whalers as the period comes to an end. And the Quebec Nordiques, on the strength of the early goal by Peter Stastny, have the edge on Mike Liut and the Hartford Whalers. 1-0 at the end of one period. We'll return to recap the action for you.
Larry, looks like he feels it. Boy, Woolrich just grabbed his jersey. Bird takes it and hit.
The action's right here on Sports Channel in April, so don't miss out on the excitement as we round out our regular season coverage of the Celtics and Whalers and begin our exclusive playoff coverage. The Atlantic Division leading Celtics end their regular season on Sports Channel with 4 tough matchups. Join us as the Celtics start gearing up for the postseason with games against the Washington Bullets, the Detroit Pistons, the New York Knicks, and the Chicago Bulls. And then it's on to the playoffs with Sports Channel's exclusive coverage of select home Celtics playoff games. Leading the NHL's Adams Division are the explosive Hartford Whalers. They finish off their regular season on Sports Channel with a matchup against the New York Rangers. Then they begin their quest for the Stanley Cup. Stay tuned in April as our complete and exclusive coverage of Whalers playoff action begins. It's sure to be an exciting month here on Sports Channel as we present 2 of the hottest teams in sports. Stay tuned, it'll only get better.
Sparkling stop. Deneen, great move. He scores! Kevin Deneen stuck it in. What a move! 3-0 Whalers. Deneen trying to beat Giles. He does. He shoots. He scores!
Unbelievable! I'm sorry, Rick. Unbelievable! You asked me earlier. I was going to mention before the goal. You worried about conditioning? Not with this Whaler team. What a great victory, Rick.
Coming to Chicago. As it's fired in front, they score! Francis deflects it, Anderson's pass, and the Whalers move in front of the power play goal. Look, Deneen to Anderson, stopped by Hayward. Francis, he scores! 3 seconds to go, and the Whalers win it. Quebec leads here in Game 1 of this best-of-7 Adams Division semifinal series. 1-0 on the goal by Peter Stastny from Mike Hupp and Anton Stastny. The shots favor the Whalers 13-10 in the first period. And Jerry, the scoring favored Quebec, and I would say the penalties kind of favored them. Hartford had more power play chances, but Quebec relied on their penalty killing, and so far it hasn't let them down.
Certainly hasn't, Rick, and you can see why they're #1 in the league in penalty killing because of the great job they did in this pressure-packed situation in the first period. But the Whalers got to keep plugging away. I think the Whalers, when they're on the power play, have to get possession a lot easier and quicker in their end. They got to spend more time with possession of the puck on their power plays. The Nordiques are just not allowing them to get in there quickly.
As far as even strength situations, and we really didn't have very many of those when you come right down to it in the first period, but the size and the strength of the Nordiques certainly has been exerted in this first period against Hartford and has slowed down the Whalers.
Certainly has, Rick, and one of the big questions that's been asked all around hockey, you know, we know that the Whalers are quick enough, and they got good players and all that, great goaltending, but do they have the size to continually combat the opposition? And what we saw in the first period by the Nordiques was every time they went into the corner with the Whaler, they were not playing the puck, they were playing the body. They were just nailing them all the time, and only time will tell, but I kind of think it has taken away from the Whalers' speed. Now, that's not talking about the Nordique end, but they really haven't got time to get going with the penalties and all that. As the game goes on, the series goes on, we'll find if this is a big factor in the series.
Mario Gosselin came up with several good stops in close, but then he almost was his own worst enemy in a couple of plays. And you mentioned he's the type of goalie that you can really wear down.
I think you can. He's just a little guy, always backs in his net. And if you keep driving toward the net, get in his crease area, and once again be physical with him, I think you can wear him down. The two best saves he made in that period were really not textbook saves. He was falling, sprawling, but he did save him. That's how you have to do this for a goaltender.
Coming off a period like this where we had 84 minutes in penalties, the Whalers were frustrated by the Nordiques using their size and strength, and obviously frustrated by all the penalty calls that we had. They're trailing 1-0. What are they telling themselves in trying to get things going for the second period?
Well, I think they're just saying in the dressing room, now listen, all the shenanigans is over. Let's get back and play hockey. We ended up with 20 or 22 points more than the Nordiques. We're a better team than the Nordiques. Hey, listen, this was going to happen sometime during the series, this brawling type hockey we saw in the first 10 or 12 minutes of the game. It's all over with now. We got it out of our system. Let's go play hockey and beat them.
Okay, Jerry visited before the game with Dean Evison, who looks to be a very pivotal player in this best-of-7 series. We'll be back with that conversation right after this.
With every Budweiser enjoyed, the promise endures. The promise of genuine quality, without compromise, without fail. Beechwood aged Budweiser and Bud Light. Genuine proof that somebody still and always will care about quality. And that is a promise.
Just sign here.
Okay, that's $253 per month with 0% financing.
That's right.
I'm getting $3,000 for my '69 Bug and an all-expense-paid trip to Wally World.
That's right.
This sounds great.
Excuse me? So you think you got a good deal? You know if you had gone to Mitchell Subaru, you could have bought the same car for hundreds less.
Really?
Yes. At Mitchell Subaru, you get the best price on the car you want, and you won't pay for other dealers' ridiculous come-ons. So come today for your best deal at Mitchell Subaru, Route 44, Canton.
Our guest is Dean Evison, this year's winner of the Unsung Hero Award. And Dean, I don't think you were unsung. I think that you were a hero as far as I'm concerned. You had a terrific year, both offensively and especially defensively.
Well, I was very pleased to win the award. You know, there's so many guys on our team that certainly deserve an award like that. Stuart Gavin, David Tippett, and, you know, Dougie Jarvis and guys like that. And I was just very honored to win that award.
Dean, I want to ask you about one of your abilities, and it's, as far as I'm concerned, the best in the National Hockey League. I don't remember you missing a pass this year. When you had Stu Gavin go in, or John Anderson, or when Paul Allis played with you, you never missed a pass. I know you have to have talent to do that, but you got to work at that also.
Well, I don't think it's all that difficult when you got guys like, you know, Paul Lawless or Sylvain Turgeon or Stuart Gavin who've got speed to burn. I just throw it out, you know, 5-10 feet in front of them, and they can skate into it anywhere. So I just try and lead them as well as I can and try and put it on their sticks. And, you know, we've been doing it most of the year, and when they do get a good pass, they usually convert it into a goal.
Well, I compliment you on your ability to pass. When I coached, I used to hate guys that had guys going in the opening and miss the pass, so I'm sure you work hard at it. Let's talk about the upcoming series. The Whalers ended up in first place. You're playing the Nordiques. It's really a reversal of last year, and hopefully your team's aware of it, which I'm sure they are.
Oh, there's no question. You know, we know that they're going to come out ready to play and to beat us as we did them to last year. And you know, we played so hard last year. We just got into the final spot, and you know, we had nothing to lose. We just came out and you know, played as hard as we could. And I'm sure they're expecting to do the same thing. But again, we've got to hopefully learn from what happened last year and realize that what we did to them, we can't let happen to us. And we just got to go out there and just work just as hard as we did last year and play just as well as we did.
Dean, it seems to me you're going to be playing against Hunter. They've made a lot out of it. I didn't watch the series last year, and I think the most important thing is the fact that Stu Gavin and his speed is going to be going against Goulet.
Yeah, there's no question. I talked to Stewie, you know, a couple days now, and he feels just terrific. You know, he's got such great speed. He can take care of Goulet, you know, and he's done it for the last 2 years that I've played with him. He's always checked him, and as you say, with speed like that, you know, it just makes him a tremendous checker. And hopefully we can shut that line down and maybe get a couple goals ourselves to help the hockey club.
You know, after you beat the Nordiques and you don't have to face Hunter anymore, it might be pretty easy for you.
Well, you know, we went at it a few times last year and stuff, but, you know, when you get into the hockey game, it's anything to win, and whatever happens out there happens.
Okay, let's talk of one of the special teams. You're on the penalty-killing unit for the Whalers, and to me, one of the keys of beating the Nordiques out is you're going to have to stop their power play. What are some of the keys in stopping the Nordique power play?
Well, there's, you know, there's Risto Sillen on the point who, you know, Hartford Whalers fans and us as well know exactly what he can do. He can shoot the puck extremely hard, but again, you got to watch out for that, but then you got to watch out for the cross crease pass to Goulet in front of the net. He slams the puck in so well, you know, playing out there with Peter Stastny, and you give him room and he can make a pass anywhere in the rink, so you definitely got to be careful of both the shot and in front of the net, and definitely watch Peter Stastny. They've got a very good power play.
I think what you have to use, what the word we're trying to think of, Dino, is aggressiveness. You got to be aggressive against the Nordique power play.
Yeah, there's no question. Hopefully you can, you know, create that bad pass to whoever they're going to make the play to, and you know, don't let them get set up in our end and make the pretty play.
All right, our guest has been Dean Evison. Good luck to you guys in the playoffs. I think we'll be seeing you out west against Edmonton in the finals. Good luck.
Thanks, Jerry.
Rick and I'll be back with first period highlights after this. Nordiques leading the Whalers 1-0 on an early Peter Stastny goal. Let's go to town as all the playoffs begin tonight. The Canadiens are in the second period and lead the Boston Bruins by a score of 4-2. Rangers in Philadelphia, there is no score in the first period. The Caps lead the Islanders in Washington 3-0 during the second period. St. Louis and Toronto is 0-0 in the first. Chicago leads Detroit 2-0 in the first period. Later on today, Los Angeles is at Edmonton, and Winnipeg is at Calgary. They're out west in Canada, so they'll be starting a little later.
Well, to start the second period, we've got the penalty box doors swung open, and Shane Churla will go in to have a seat. I thought I heard something about a misconduct mentioned in regard to some players. Apparently Churla is one, and they've got the Quebec door open as well. We had 86 penalty minutes in the first period. Basil McRae and Churla will head for the box. That's before these two misconducts.
I didn't notice anything at the end of the period. Did they get into it at all, Rick? It might have been for doing some skating exercises. You know, you're not allowed to do that anymore. But with these two guys, you know, they're not strangers to the penalty box. Anything could happen on the way out.
And Mr. Hogarth is calling everything by the book tonight. So
I think we'll be all right now in the second period. I think things will get back to normal, and the line matchups will be what the coaches want them to be, at least what Jack Evans wants them to be. I'm not so sure Bergeron will want them to be that way, but I think we'll be back to normal.
Nevertheless, the Whalers trail by a 1-0 count, and Ladouceur is back to touch the puck for an icing call against Quebec. We look at Randy.
A great acquisition by Emil Francis. This guy has played very steady hockey for the Whalers since he came from Detroit. Shane Churla will be sitting there for the next 10 minutes, as will Basil McRae for the Nordiques. As I said, neither one are strangers to that position over there.
I guess not. McRae had 342 minutes in penalties this year, and Churla, with the Whalers anyway, had 78 in 20 games. He had 249 in 24 games in Binghamton. Here's Normand Rochefort. Around to Goulet. Taps it out through center. Ladouceur hustles back for it. Jeff Brown is there for it, and he drives it in with Lambert trapped in the zone offside. Lane Lambert, who came over from the Rangers for Pat Price.
Rick, remember we talked to Bergeron at the start of the year? I forget it was the exhibition game or the first game of the regular season. He said he cannot find a right winger around. He says, I need a right winger desperately. He said, you think Emma will trade us Kevin Dineen? I says, I really don't think so. In fact, I wouldn't even bother asking. He says, but we are desperate for right wingers, and Lane Lambert has seemed to have filled the role more than anyone's they've tried. You know, they had to trade Kumpel, they traded this guy, tried this guy, but this guy's lasted the longest. Uh-oh, we got Gordie Donnelly going out there to play left wing. He's usually a defenseman, and he's playing against McDermott.
Now he comes off, and Ogrodnik steps on. Mike Eagles is out with an ankle injury for Quebec tonight. And he is usually on that Gillis-Cote line, and Bergeron's had to fill in when he's been able to get that line out there so far tonight. Here's Lanasour to lift it back toward Quebec territory. Randy Muller has to hurry back for it. McDermott is in there to stalk him. Out comes Gillis. Gillis leaves it for Cote. Trying to get the shot away. He fanned on it. Here's Jarvis for the Whalers.
Now you know why Cote is a defensive specialist. Defensive specialist, I should say.
Didn't have much luck on that last try. Semenko centers, and it's off the stick. It deflected off Gonsolin's stick and through the goal mouth. Ogrodnik springs a 2-on-1. Gillis to Cote, and once again he has trouble getting the shot away. Gillis sends it behind his man, and Rochefort keeps it in. Tries to buy a little time so the Whalers can complete a line change. Nordiques will ice it once again with Dave Babbitt's back.
Rick, you mentioned Mike Eagles, and I'm sure the Whalers are glad that he's not in the lineup. He's been a harpoonist this year for the Nordiques against the Whalers. Good, honest hockey player, good checker, and gets the occasional big goal.
He scored 4 goals in the season series in the 8 games, but is missing tonight.
Got a knee injury, I believe.
And they've got David Shaw out with mononucleosis, and there's a possibility he can come back later on in the playoffs if the Nordiques continue on. This is as healthy, I think, as they've been all year.
Certainly is, and as I said, what a writer told me before the game, you can feel them coming on. They were playing a lot better the last 2 weeks.
Peter Stastny will be our second intermission guest tonight. Stastny back to Silton, and he was hooked by Dineen and couldn't unleash that booming drive. Here's Francis ahead to Anderson. Getting back in good shape defensively was Anton Stastny to clear the zone. Peter Stastny across to Hopp. Hopp from the angle lets it go wide. Anton Stastny can't get a shot away. Ronnie Francis with a long lead for Anderson. And he blasts one over the net, and back it comes off the glass, but Gosselin was there to play the carom. Robert Picard, who's playing with a back injury, sends it in wide of Mike Liu. Vinadors gets to it. Icing is the call against the Nordiques. 17:29 remaining in the first period. Our score, Quebec 1, Hartford 0.
Chicago leading Detroit 2-0, when really Detroit leads Chicago 2-0.
Jacques Demers would get mad at you for that. He's a little mad over what happened Sunday. Here's a shot by Mers, and it's gloved by Gosselin. St. Louis caught those Red Wings in the final night of the regular season to finish in first place in the Norris Division as the Nordiques are offside. The Blues were down by 5 points, 7 points. They seem to be back by a healthy margin all through the final weeks, and they snuck up on Detroit in the last week of the season.
They certainly did, and hats off to their young coach, Jacques Martin. Did a terrific job with that team. They're a funny team, St. Louis. You go on the ice with them, and it looks like your team's much better than them. All of a sudden, they're hang in there, and beat you at the end.
I think they're a case of another team that is finally getting healthy, relatively. Of course, they still don't have Brian Sutter back, but Fedorko's in good health, and Gilmore has really come to the fore. As a result of that win, Michael Shanahan didn't have to duke it out with Mike Gillich. Of course, the owners of those teams don't like each other too well. They're fighting over possession of Jacques Demers, and
I'm sure Jacques Demers was in shock after he woke up on that Monday morning and found himself finished in second spot. Nevertheless, he did a terrific job. And that might just give Jack Evans a little shot at winning Coach of the Year.
Here's Stephen Finn. We've played nearly 3 minutes of relatively quiet hockey in the second period. Gord Donnelly touches the puck and gets a shot away, but he's offside, and they will bring it back. A much tamer start to the second period as opposed to period 1.
Looking at Gord Donnelly, as we said, is a converted defenseman. He's playing left wing with Gillis and Cote. No, he's playing right wing, I should say, with Gillis and Cote.
You talk about Demers. He was sent from the Blues to Quebec back in '83 when the Blues signed Jacques Demers. He was sent as compensation. That's similar to what St. Louis is seeking now from Detroit for Detroit signing Demers.
That makes sense.
I don't know if they'd want Gord Donnelly or maybe a little more. Lots happened to Jacques since he left Quebec.
You know, in the old World Hockey League, World Hockey Association, we sent a player to Winnipeg for future considerations. You know what the considerations were?
What?
That they didn't send him back.
Here's Randy Mulder. Gord Donnelly, who played for Jack Evans in Salt Lake City while in the Blues organization several seasons back. Jarvis got tangled up with Gillis, and I believe Jarvis accidentally caught Gillis in the face with a stick. And Gillis heads for the bench as Jarvis stick handles out. Donnelly takes care of the rebound, and he'll sail it down the ice, and the Nordiques continue in their efforts to slow the pace down in this game.
What we just saw there was a routine shot by Dougie Jarvis, a routine save by Mario Gosselin, a rebound to the Nordique defenseman, and they didn't take any chances. He iced it. And we're going to see an awful lot of that as long as the Nordiques remain in front. Look at the fans. They're even in the tents. Look at this guy. He's chewing his gum. They don't even want to recognize that they're on television.
Maybe he's not supposed to be here.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to be at the office. This isn't an afternoon game.
The Nordiques finished 6th best in the league defensively. The Whalers were the 3rd best defensive team, and boy, have they ever played tight checking affairs here at the Civic Center throughout the regular season. A lot of 2-1, 3-2, 2-2 varieties. Emil Francis pointed that out in his conversation with Karen Mulvihill on the pregame show. Evison on the break, and he backhands it wide. Evison works to get it back again, but Dale Hunter stick handles, and he tried to spring Goulet. The pass is well behind him. Babbage has a step on Goulet, wins the race, and icing is the call. The Whalers with another golden opportunity.
Rick, I really thought that Evison beat Gosselin on this breakaway. Held on to his lazy good here. Great pass. Dean, who's not really the fastest guy in the world, but he breaks quickly here, gets a step on him. He goes, makes a couple shifts. And from up here, we're on the left of Gosselin. We kind of thought that Evison beat him, but Gosselin slid his pads over and made the save. Here he goes, one move, then the second shift over to his backhand, and you can see that Gosselin was right with him. Gosselin does have great agility, which allows him to get over there. Dean's a little disappointed, but this little guy will be around before this series is over, before this game's over. He's a player. He plays from the heart, and that's great.
Ronnie Francis and his line will take a turn against Gillis and company. Gillis controls another face-off, and Siltanen sends it out for Alain Cote. Leinendorf swings it around to Deneen. Picard lines him up for the hit. Cote keeps it in. Kevin slides it over to Lanasour. Out ahead for Anderson. Here's Francis with Deneen. Ronnie shoots, and he had his stick hooked by Picard. Gosselin made the stop. Anderson follows up, and now we get a late whistle for an offside. Ron Finn halts play.
Moeller heard the whistle and everything, and he still took a tremendous chop at Anderson. He's checking his stick right there to see if it's broken. He's showing to Hogarth, he's saying, no, this was just a routine slash. This is 10 seconds after the whistle. Well, not 10 seconds, but 2 or 3 seconds after the whistle. He's just laughing at it, John. It was so obvious.
John Anderson, who ended the regular season in fine style, an 8-game point streak, 8 goals in his last 7 games. And plateau for the 5th time in his career. He had quite a memorable night against the Nordiques in Game 3 of the playoffs last year in this building. 6 points, 2 goals, and 4 assists as the Whalers routed Quebec and completed the sweep. Move on to the Adams Division final round against Montreal. Here's Francis. He had it poked away by Huff. The ever-dangerous Peter Stastny slides it to Picard's stick. Quenneville took down his man Huff. Here's Francis with a pass that hit the referee Hogarth, and it's sent down the ice by Picard. No icing.
The Whalers are going to get frustrated just trying to beat them at the blue line. They got to get it deep.
Peter Stastny back to Finn. His shot is blocked by Francis. He hooks it to Dineen. Dineen cuts in. Waits. Anderson shoots. Saved by Gosselin. Anderson again. Saved by Gosselin. He snares the 3rd try. And now Huff jumps Dineen behind the net.
But first of all, if Huff does not get 2 minutes and maybe 4 minutes for what he did here, you can get 4 minutes or 5 minutes for sticking a person in the facial area. This is what he did. We'll go over this when we come back.
3 great stops by Gosselin. Hold the Whalers off the board, and it's still 1-0 Quebec.
Maybe you don't need a sunroof or air conditioning, smooth cruise control, or a symphonic car sound system. But when you do, Joe D's delivers quality. From Canton, Enfield, West Hartford, Manchester, Waterbury, North Haven, New London, and Norwalk.
Looking at Mike Huff, who should go for at least 4, maybe 5 for what he did after a couple of great saves by Gosselin, and for some reason Dineen's going to go. I mean, he just attacked him on the ice. This is where Hogarth has got to take the bull by the horns. There's no reason, unless I missed something up here, that Kevin Dineen, he did get 5 minutes.
11, Kevin Dineen, 2 minutes for high sticking.
Well, let's watch this first one now. Kevin Dineen and John Anderson are going to go in a 2-on-1. And Kevin makes a terrific play to Anderson, and this is where Gosselin makes a great save right here. Kevin waits very late, finds Anderson in front as it goes by the sweeping stick. Now here's Gosselin sliding over. Okay, makes one save here. The rebound is going to go back to John Anderson in front. He turns to his forehand, shoots it high. Gosselin got the stick mitt on it, then made the catch. Now, well, Kevin's stick was up above his shoulder where the 2 minutes for his high sticking comes, but it was in, he was on his way down anyway.
He gets high sticking for that. He was trying to hit the puck.
Well, the puck was in the Gosselin's glove. But what I'm saying here, Rick, is that the only way that Hogarth can justify 5 minutes to Huff is by giving Kevin 2.
How about a double minor to Huff?
He got a 5-minute major.
Well, how about just a double minor? The Whalers are still penalized.
No, that's what I say, but he's trying to...
Their leading scorer, goal scorer in the penalty box.
But what he's trying to do is justify the call. He just really didn't have enough nerve to give a single penalty to Huff, regardless if it was 4 minutes or 5 minutes.
I think you called that right. Evison is out with Stu Gavin.
Meanwhile, Rick, he made 2 fine saves, Gosselin. Excellent saves.
Both teams a man short. The ice opens up a bit as Gosselin leaves it for Brown. Merzen can't control that puck, and Kleinendorst has to hurry back. Here comes Hunter after him. Goulet sends it back to the Whaler net. Merzen's there for it. Now Kleinendorst and Hunter are going to go off. They continue to tangle behind the play.
Rick, you remember an old referee called Bill Friday?
Yes, I do.
All right, I'm going to tell you about him after. We have to go to commercial right now, and the score, Quebec 1, Hartford 0.
Dear, the birds have gone south. It's time we joined them.
Well, you should fit right in.
I am looking at the travel deal of the century.
Can we afford...
Get 2 minutes for holding and slashing or whatever Hogarth called it. He can call anything now. But I was telling you about Bill Friday. Bill Friday would have been a perfect guy to referee this game, because he was tough. And he wasn't afraid to make a call if it would, slow or settle the game down. And the players respected him because he was tough. I don't believe they respect Hogarth, and that's why this stuff continues.
Gavin was hooked on the play by Peter Stastny. Has to turn back at center, and now Gosselin takes a chop at Evason, and Goulet takes exception to that. Ladouceur battles his way to the middle of things.
There's going to be penalties here. He's going to get Evason for running into Gosselin for sure. And I think he should give it to Goulet for pushing him in there. Yeah, if he's signaling Goulet up, and he's going to argue because he has no idea what it's for. You mentioned it, something when we went to the commercial. I think you're 100% true. Let them play hockey. You know, people pay to see players. They don't pay to see officials.
Exactly. Now, let's see what happens. Gosselin gets some.
2 minutes for high sticking. Hartford penalty number 12, Dean Evason. 2 minutes for interference in the crease. Time of the penalty at 6:00.
Interference in the crease. I mean, this guy should have let that play go. I mean, he gave Goulet the high sticking penalty because he saw Evason hit Gosselin. He was pushed into him by Goulet. So he, once again, he couldn't call one without the other. And I'm not taking sides who should have got it, who shouldn't have got it, but he couldn't call one without the other. Let's play hockey.
There's still 1:16 remaining on Kevin Dineen's high sticking penalty.
Rick, you know, in the summer when they go to the rules meeting, they do everything in their power to speed the game up. They come up with a great rule this year, the delayed offside. If you clear the zone, the play continues. That's a tremendous rule. Now look at this. This is going to be a marathon tonight.
Let's play 2 today. We've got a 1:02 left on the Dineen penalty. It's still 1-0 Quebec. 13:35 to go in the second period. Both teams a man short. Peter Stastny feeds Picard. He cuts in. He shoots. He scores. Robert Picard goes top corner, and he makes it 2-0 Nordiques.
Sharp angle for Picard, but I'll tell you, he got tremendous wood in there, and this puck left his stick and zipped into the corner in unbelievable time. Now watch Stastny, the card dealer right here. He finds Picard coming late. Tough angle, but boy, does he zing this off his stick, and this goes right in the top corner over the glove hand of Mike Liu. We're going to see it from another angle right here. We'll see what it's tipping back in defense, but watch how quickly this thing goes up. Angle right up in the air and over the left shoulder. You know, Mike Liu was out and had good position. He just got beat. That's all.
Peter Stastny insulted an assist on Picard's goal at 6:32 of the second period. Stastny with a goal and an assist tonight. It's 2-0 Quebec, and here's Ladouceur. And he chips the puck in among the sellout crowd of could be 15,126. Both teams still shorthanded for another 45 seconds.
Let's look at a third angle of this last goal, and you'll see better in this one how quickly it gets over Liu's shoulder. Wow, is that a rocket? I mean, that went in the perfect spot. You can see from that angle. It was tougher on the first 2 angles as we look at the man who shot it, Robert Picard. You know, when he come into this league, he was supposed to be a perennial all-star, and he really hasn't played that way over his career, but when you see shots like that, you know he's got the tools. That was a great shot, Rick.
And here he comes again. He was a 3rd overall pick in the 1977 draft, taken by the Washington Capitals. Picard sends it across to Silton. He sends it ahead for Peter Stastny. Here's the pass for Peter Stastny on with Ogrodnik. Peter Stastny shoots, and it's off Liu's glove. Gavin hurries after the rebound. The Whalers stride back. It's Turgeon. Going to go outside on Rochefort. That didn't work. Dineen is set to spring out of the penalty box. Long drive by Rochefort is wide of Liu. The Whalers have the man advantage for 3 minutes. Unless we get more penalties called. Here's Gillis. Back to Cote. Whalers going the power play for the 4th time tonight.
It's imperative they score in these next 3 minutes, Rick.
And it's an uninterrupted power play, so if they do score, they continue with a man advantage. Ferraro cuts it against Moeller. Moeller gives him a shot. Dineen gets the stick to the head. He gets it to Ferraro. Babbage into Dineen. Ferraro pulls the trigger, and Picard was there to block it. Cote gets it by Francis. Gillis is one-on-one against Babbage. He looks for Cote, and Babbage blocked the pass. Francis. Dineen's the trailer. He shoots, and he didn't get all of it. It hit Picard and bounced wide. Dineen shovels it back to Babbitt. Over to Francis with 2 minutes to go in the penalty. Ferraro tips it into Anderson. Centers, and Dineen sends it wide. He was sent flying into the net by Cote. And the net is moved away from the Magnets, and Gosselin is somewhere at the bottom of that pile.
And I think he's hurt. I think he went into this net pretty hard as Dineen was pushed into the net. But I don't think he is. I know he is. He's down. Let's look at this again. Well, this is a give-and-go situation right here, and it's going to come in front to Kevin Dineen as he's going towards the net. Bango. Now he's cross-checked by Cote right here, and Kevin gets the elbow up to protect himself more than anything, and he nails Gosselin down. I keep saying before the game, you can get to Gosselin by like continually going towards the net because he's just a little guy, but you know, he hangs in there pretty good.
He had a whale of a playoff a couple of years ago in 1985. It was his first full season in the NHL. So when he gets hot, look out. But he struggled actually since then. Last year was an off year for him. This season, Malarchuk saw the bulk of the action through the early stretches of the season, and on his performance, Malarchuk was selected to join the NHL All-Stars for the Rendezvous Series in Quebec City. But it's been Gosselin who's carried the ball the last couple of weeks.
I think Gosselin is in somewhat the same situation as Patrick Roy for the Canadiens. I mean, the organization really feels that he is the goaltender of the future. I mean, he's going to be their #1 man, and they keep going back to him, I wasn't really surprised Gosselin started tonight. I kind of thought they'd lean to Malarchuk, who's played so well in this building and in this conference. But once again, Bergeron reflects back to the great playoffs he had a couple years ago, and he is the goaltender that they're trying to build around. I've always liked Gosselin as a goaltender, and he's a feisty little guy, and when he plays the game properly, he's tough to beat.
He's one of those spectacular type of goaltenders. He came out of the '84 Olympic Games. He played with Kevin Dineen and Dave Tippett on Team Canada.
He is, I mean, him and Malarchuk, it's a pretty good duo because they're so opposites. Like you say, Gosselin is a spectacular type player, and Clint Malarchuk is very conservative. He's a very, he just stands there and lets the puck hit him most of the time.
Ferraro wins the draw, gets it back to Babbage. Under 2 minutes to go on the major penalty. Here's a shot by Babbage, and it's deflected wide. Randy Mulder sends it down the ice. Huff got the major penalty for cross-checking. Once again, we welcome our viewers from ESPN as the Whalers continue on their 4th power play opportunity of the hockey game. They trail now 2-0, and they're operating during a major penalty to Mike Huff. The remaining time on that penalty for cross-checking. Here's Francis shooting, saved by Gosselin, and Anderson on the rebound, and Gosselin has somehow got a piece of it. Anderson sends it out to Babbitt. Fires, deflected, save. They score! John Anderson on the rebound, cuts it to 2-1.
The opportunities they've been getting, especially on their power plays, Rick, it was a matter of time before they scored. This was such an important goal for the Whalers. We're going to see Babbage, who shoots it so well from the point, nice and low. Gosselin makes the save, and here's John Anderson, unmolested in front of the net, and he just wraps it past Gosselin. Don't forget now, there's still 1 minute and 8 seconds left in the major penalty to Huff. Now here's the original save by Gosselin. Almost gets the rebound by Anderson, too, because Anderson didn't get great wood on it. Nevertheless, it went in, and they got 1 minute and 8 left on their power play. And this perked the fans up as we see them with their pom-poms. They're giving them out at the door today, the green and white pom-poms. That we're back in high school, Rick.
Well, that fella's not back in high school as Dean Evison's line will take a turn on the Whaler power play. Francis and Babbage back them up. The penalty killers for the Nordiques. Goulet and Hunter in front of Picard and Rochefort. Quebec strong in the penalty killing unit all season long. They're finally burned on the goal by Anderson at 9:16. Here's Turgeon. Leaves it for Gavin. 40 seconds left on the major to Huff. Evison knocked down the pass. Gosselin gets it back again. Evison Pinned by Picard, and pinned well enough for a whistle. In the opinion of Ron Hogarth, Gavin and Hunter take shots at each other, and Rochefort comes in to hug Gavin, and it's not to say hello.
Let's not forget the shot of Babbage from the point in that power play. He is got such a great shot because it's always low, and he always forces the goaltender to make the save if the puck isn't tipped. He shoots it low enough so it can be tipped, and he always forces the goaltender to make a save, and that's exactly what happened on the goal by Anderson. Goslin had to make a save, and to make it, he had to go down, and Anderson popped in the rebound.
Whalers have 30 seconds left in the power play. Picard scored to make it 2-0 from Peter Stastny and Siltanen at 6:32 of the second period. Peter Stastny scored the game-opening goal at 1:59 of the first from Huff and Anton Stastny. As Kevin Dineen trying to swing in front, Goslin lost his stick, and the whistle blows. And now we've got some pushing and shoving. Apparently Hogarth has a penalty call upcoming. High sticking is indicated. And we'll be back with the result of that. 10:02 to go here in the second period, and Quebec leads 2-1.
Hi, Fred. What happened was Kevin Dineen, I believe it was, behind the Nordique net, touched the puck above his shoulders with the stick, necessitating high stick call, and the face-off goes back into the Whaler end. Let's take a look at it and see if we can find it. As the puck goes behind the net, Moeller tries to bat it, doesn't get very good wood on it, and right there, very close call as we can see. And this is when Hogarth blew the whistle for high sticking the puck.
Liut makes his stop on Cote. Gillis goes waltzing through the crease, and we've got another whistle, and Hogarth, I don't know what he has in mind here. And the faceoff came back to the Whaler zone because that infraction occurred in the power play. So that's why the faceoff came back to the Hartford end.
Rick, why was this a stoppage of play?
That I can't tell you.
Oh, I see. It was to let a couple guys out of the penalty box. Not really.
I don't know if Hogarth automatically thought that there was going to be a problem with the net being moved away or what, but in any case, he rules that Quebec initiated the stoppage.
Not really, Rick, because the faceoff's going to be inside.
Okay. I thought he was going to place it outside.
I'm a little confused in this because I don't know why it was stopped. If he stopped it for some infraction by the Nordiques, it should be outside. You're correct there, but
apparently that's not the case, and we're still baffled. In any case,
this is a baffling game at times, believe me. Canadians just went up in the Bruins 6-2.
Bruins are a little baffled.
Yeah, you talk about baffled people, well, the Bruins are baffled right now.
Turgeon, Evison, and Gavin up front for the Whalers here in the closing seconds. 10 seconds to go in the major. Ladouceur gives it to Mersey. Whalers without Ulf Samuelsson. He was kicked out for being the third man in an altercation early in the first period and was given a game misconduct. Game misconducts from the regular season, incidentally, don't carry over into the playoffs. You're allowed 2 in the playoffs before you get a suspension. You get a 1-game suspension for your third. For those of you keeping score.
Rick, with the Whalers trailing by a goal, once again, they have to recognize the style that the Nordiques are playing, and that is packing the blue line, their blue line, not allowing them to penetrate carrying the puck. So the Whalers have to recognize that, and they got to dump the puck deep. The 2 players without the puck have got to retrieve it. They got to be on there, as we used to say in the daily, and get in there and use their speed to get control of the puck.
Penalties over to Huff. Dineen precedes the puck into the zone, and thus we get an offside. Those shots you saw were the total figures, and that means that the Whalers have outshot Quebec 10-4 so far here in the second period.
Rick, how about the Rangers? They're ahead of the Flyers 2-0. You laughed at me when I picked the Rangers, didn't you?
I didn't laugh. Chuckled maybe, but
believe me, it's a long way from being old.
Wonder who's starting in goal for that one for the Rangers. Well, Esposito was confused right up until the end of the season.
I'm sure it's Van Biesbroek.
Babbage Couldn't get the outlet by Anton Stastny. Quenneville gets it away to Deneen. Gosselin holds on to it. Peter Stastny can't slide it by Kevin Deneen. Anton fans in his clearing attempt. Babbage shovels it toward the net, and it rolls to Francis. He gets help from Anderson. Babbage shoots. Stick save by Gosselin. Quenneville hurries over. His drive hit Picard. He sends it ahead to Huff. Mike Huff leaves it for Peter Stastny. Quenneville spins away from Anton. 8.5 to go in the second period. 2-1 Quebec leads. The Whalers scored a 5-minute power play. John Anderson from Ron Francis and Dave Babbage at 9:16. Jeff Brown for Quebec. And the offensive-minded defenseman not as quick as Goulet in getting across that line, and thus we have an offside.
You see young Jeff Brown here. See a beard in his face. It's one of the old traditions in hockey. Once they hit playoff times, they grow a beard.
Not bad for 20 years old.
The beard or the player?
Neither. Remember, Michel Bergeron talked in preseason. He thought he had big things going in Jeff Brown, but sent him back to Fredericton in the American League for a couple of months, and I'm sure he still has high hopes for him. He's in the lineup tonight. Rochefort drives it in. Dana Merzen backhands it out for Evason. Gosselin sweeps it away from Turgeon. Goulet gets rid of it. Lambert leads it for Hunter. Merzen one-hands it back to center ice. Normand Rochefort, a 7-year veteran. Gave it up to Dean Evason. Back to Turgeon, lets it go, and it's well wide of Mario Gosselin. 7.5 to go in the second period. It's 2-1 Nordiques here in Game 1 of this Adams Division semifinal series. The best of 7 this year. Merzen gives it to Evason. Hooks it back to Turgeon. He'll snap it off, and it's blocked by Brown. Babbage can't sneak it past Basil McRae, who along with Churla have left the penalty box. McRae shoots, and it's deflected into the crowd by Quenneville.
Turgeon's just taking a little tough, too long, Rick, to get his shots away.
2-1 Quebec here in the second. Jarvis line out with Shane Churla on right wing. He's opposing Ogrodnik on this matchup. Here's Muller shooting, save by Liut. He stops Ogrodnik on the backhand. Mike Liut hasn't seen a whole lot of action at his end here in this period, but he continues with his sharp play. Greg Malone. The pass, Quenneville trying to intercept it. Ogrodnik comes up with it. The former 55-goal scorer hands it to McRae, and Babbage works it off his stick. Doug Jarvis. The pass knocked down by Stephen Finn. Here's Churla. Churla sends it off Finn's stick, and it deflects in front. Now we got Churla trying to go with Finn, who didn't really want any part of Shane Churla. Now he wants to try Randy Muller on for size, and Shane Churla will be heading off to the penalty box.
He's going to have a tough time finding guys to fight him right here, Rick. As we see him try and lay the puck in front. Now Finn takes a shot at him, and he bulldogs him into the boards. Oh, Finn takes the first shot, and Finn skates away. I hope he's calling a penalty in Finn here. I wish he could see the replay, Hogard. Am I seeing it wrong, Rick, or did Finn not get involved in this early?
Well, he did, but I think the determining factor was the gloves flying off there, so could be several ways to interpret it, but I think Churla deserves to get the brunt of the penalty situation. I don't think you agree with me.
Well, I'm certainly Churla deserves a penalty. I'm not knocking that at all. But I kind of thought that Finn really wasn't as innocent as one might be when he doesn't get a penalty. nevertheless, a very important power play for the Nordiques, and the Whalers have to be sharp to kill it.
We'll be back with that Quebec power play advantage. The Nordiques lead it 2-1 right after this.
In the truck warranty game, the winning hand still belongs to Dodge. Our 5
coaches, Jack Evans and Claude LaRose, very calm. And we're going to the side of the Nordique bench. Bergeron's got the hands going. Nolé's got the hands going. Opposites.
The Nordiques are on the power play for the 3rd time tonight. Here's John O'Grodnik. Ladouceur runs him. They too were former teammates in Detroit as Jarvis banks it out the center. Siltanen plays it over to Peter Stastny. And Goulet cuts in there. He tries to get a call against Ladouceur. That doesn't wash. Leinendorst will sail it down the ice.
That's about the 3rd time this evening that Goulet has taken a dive, and he's too good of a hockey player to have to do that.
Siltanen plays it in. He leaves it for Kleinendorst, and he banks it off Hogarth, and that certainly gives the crowd something to scream about. A minute to go on the penalty to Charlotte for roughing. Quebec of the power play for the 3rd time. They've been held off by the Whalers. Drop pass to Hunter, back to Anton Stastny, tries to close in. Liut finds that loose puck, and he covers it. And now they got Hunter and Evason with the sticks up.
This isn't the first time they've gone at it, especially last year in the playoffs. It's the first time tonight, I think, that they'll go off together. I'll tell you one thing about Dean Evason. He won't back down from anyone, and neither will Dale Hunter. It's a pretty good matchup.
They once fought 3 times in the same game to earn game misconducts. One time last season. And they'll go off here with 5:19 to go in the period.
Let's go back and watch Anton Stastny cut to the front of the net. Usually you don't expect players to do this, but he fools him and tries to slip it in the short side. But Liut was well aware of what he's trying to do and got his stick on it. And this is how, whoops, Mike Liut got the stick up in Hunter's face, and that's really what initiated this little hootenanny. No, I don't know. He got it into Goulet's face. I'm sorry.
2 minutes for roughing. Hartford penalty number.
Evason and Hunter, they could have been on the undercard at the Leonard Hagler fight. That would have been a good little go. We would have got 15,000 people from here to watch it.
I believe that brings us up to a total of 127 minutes in penalties tonight. 51 seconds left on the Churlick call. The Boston Celtics take on the New York Knicks Sunday, April 12th. All the excitement begins here on Sports Channel at 12:45. And you can join Tommy Heinsohn and Mike Gorman for the pregame show. Siltanen sends it across to Brown. Leinendorst sails it by Peter Stastny. And it deflected off Finn and I believe John O'Grodnik on the bench. And we get the whistle and the faceoff will come outside the Hartford line. A lot of strange things going on here tonight.
I think why Finn was so adamant about the faceoff being there is the fact that it was shot from the Whaler end, and if it doesn't hit, I think it was O'Grodnik going off the ice, the faceoff would have been in the Whaler end. But he made the decision. Listen, I went off a Whaler player into the Whaler, or a Nordique player into the Nordique bench. Faceoff's going to be outside.
The Nordiques will start another rush. Whalers have been very effective in killing off the Quebec power play thus far. Tippett has been the main man out there along with Quenneville, with help from others in holding off Quebec. Basil McRae drives it in wide. Quenneville can't get it out of the zone. Goulet fires in front. Save by Liut off the deflection try from Basil McRae, and Jarvis relieves the pressure.
That was a good pass in front and right to Basil McRae, where you know he's going to be on a power play. He's in front of the net. Not allowed to touch the puck. Only on tips on power plays.
Tilton's pass hit Francis. Charles out of the box. The Whalers are back to full strength. Brown weaves it in. Peter Stastny's contained by Babbage. Francis lifts it ahead. Anderson had trouble with a bouncing puck. Steve Finn, one of the rookie defensemen in that Quebec lineup tonight, along with Brown. Here's Ladouceur back for the Whalers. Takes the big drive, and it sails off the stick of Brown and up into the crowd.
killed by the Whalers. We know how the Nordiques can play defense with the 1-goal lead, and they're obviously twice as tough with a 2-goal lead.
Jerry, did you expect these teams to do much different from the regular season coming in?
Not really, except, you know, when you play 8 times during the season, you really don't have a reason to, you know, settle things like they did in the first period or go at each other the way they did, because you're going to play them a week Wednesday or 2 weeks Saturday, you know what's happening. But here, you know, it's a 7-game series, and you want to get all that nonsense over with. I kind of thought it would happen, but once it was through, the sticks are still going up a little bit, but they're playing exactly the same way they played every game here this year. Very tight and very conservative.
Whalers won 3 and tied 1. Shirley is spun to the ice by Finn. Paul Gillis drops it back to Finn. Merzen gets it back. His long lead well in front of Churla. Gosselin strays out to play the puck. Gets it to center. Monador dangles it to Ferraro. Ray in for Churla. Randy Mulder ahead for Gillis. Planador spins him around. It's driven in on goal by Ogrodnik. Merzen leaves it for Turgeon. Ferraro takes it. Rayo had an excellent playoff year with 9 points in 10 games last season. Sends it ahead to Churley. He slams it in behind Gosselin. Merzen strays into offensive territory. Makes the play, and it's blocked by Cote. He had 2 men cutting in front, Deneen and Anderson. Here's Ogrodnik. Centers, and it's just out of Peter Stastny's reach. Kept in by Huff. Francis wants to get things started quickly, but Peter Stastny broke it up. Brown with a pass, knocked down by Babbage. Liut comes out to handle it. Merzen fights off the check of Stastny. 2.5 remaining in the second period. 2-1 Quebec. Babbage with a shot, kicked out by Gosselin. Babbage on the rebound, centers. It's blocked. Gosselin clears it. Picard went down to get a piece of that pass. Francis tips it to Deneen. Kevin can't get around Siltonen. Peter Stastny on the wing with Lambert. Snapshot saved by Liut. As he juggled it for a moment, he decided to hang on to it.
Peter Stastny once again led the rush on Mike Liut. Tough game for Mike Liut tonight, Rick, because you get a couple of shots, then there's no shot for 3 or 4 minutes, and you get a couple more. It's a tough game for a goaltender to play in, especially with your team down a goal. You know, as the game goes on, your team is going to take more chances and more chances. It's a natural thing, and sooner or later they're going to get a 2-1, the Nordiques are. You got to make some big saves. That's what's going to happen as this game goes on.
Whalers and their fans certainly hope that what has happened so many times this season happens again tonight. We'll get to see a collision here.
Oh, this was sure. No, this was Mersden, and that was young Finn, wasn't it? I wonder if he's related to the linesman.
Hunter gives it to Goulet. He'll backhand it in behind the net. How many times have we seen Liut come up with a game-saving stop? And the Whalers come out and they're sparked offensively from that. I believe that's what they're looking for tonight as they trail 2-1. Here's Gavin. Gosselin gets it away from Turgeon. Hunter gets it out. Kleinendorf's brought it back in offside. And once again, we get some pushing and shoving. A lot of people feel, Jerry, that the Stanley Cup champion is going to come out of the Adams division this year. One reason, perhaps, to disagree with that theory is the fact that the team that comes out of here has got to be so worn out. Not to say that the other series aren't going to be physical, but this is still the black and blue division.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rick. You know, you take even though Edmonton and Calgary go at it pretty good, you take Calgary's going to play Winnipeg, and there's going to be a lot of freewheeling and skating. Here, after every time you pass the puck, you get nailed. Anytime you go in the corner, you get nailed, on both sides too. So it's that's a pretty good argument. But Montreal won last year, and they were a fresher team than Calgary were last year.
They were helped by having a couple of extra days off that Calgary didn't, as their semifinal series went 7 games with the Blues. for McRae. He's hooked by Gavin. McRae perseveres, comes up with it, can't get a shot away, and Turgeon strides back for the Whalers. Gavin lets it go. Stick save by Gosselin.
Gavin got very good wood in that. Very quick and hard. Gosselin had to make a good stick save.
A minute to go, second period. Moeller lets it go into the zone. Got Kleinendorf. With Ladouceur head manning it quickly. Turgeon couldn't gather it in. Silted in his back. Here's the long pass to Peter Stastny. We'll be visiting with him at intermission number 2. Huff in front. Peter Stastny well covered by Quenneville. Anton gets it back to Huff. It's pried away by Babbitt. Anderson leads it out to Deneen with 25 seconds to go in the period. He gets by Picard's hit. Looks for Francis, but Anton Stastny got back to block it. Francis to Anderson. Saved by Gosselin. The rebound is still up for grabs, and it comes out to Huff.
Boy, Gosselin made a good save there with his upper arm. I think that was Anderson. He got good wood in there.
John Anderson has had probably the best scoring opportunities of anybody for the Whalers. As the horn sounds, ending the second period of play. Well, Quebec upped its lead to 2-0, but the Whalers battled back on a 5-minute power play, and it's still a 1 for the Quebec Nordiques after 2. And we're underway in the third period here. Merzen and Kleinendorf back up Turgeon, Evison, and Gavin. Turgeon sweeps it in on goal. Rochefort starts it around for Lane Lambert. Goulet steams through. The pass deflects to Hunter. It rolls back to Liut. It's kept in by Rochefort. Goulet can't center off the back of the goal. He slips free from Merzen. Gavin's there to meet him, and Turgeon took it off Hunter's stick. Sylvain Turgeon gives it to Gavin. From the angle fires, and he hit the side of the goal. Dewey gets it back. Rochefort jabs it away. Michel Goulet with 49 goals this year, and he didn't have a hat trick. He came on with 13 goals in his last 13 games. Here's Paul McDermott. And it worked away by Finn. Charges right in after him. Jarvis goes in after Moeller. Jarvis with a puck. Quenneville can't get a shot away. Ogrodnik sends it across to Basil McRae. Here's Ogrodnik cutting in. Got away from a diving Quenneville, but couldn't control the puck for a shot. McDermott slides it to Jarvis. Gillis is pressured by one of the Whalers' most effective forecheckers, Paul McDermott. Tippett runs at Finn. Dave Babbage, who's played a solid game on the Whalers' back line. Gave it up to Moeller. Out ahead for John Ogrodnik. Ogrodnik on the drop pass. Basil McRae shoots, saved by Liut. And it's driven away by Babbage. The Whalers were rather pleased to see that development.
But one thing the Whalers got to be careful of, and all their anxiousness, don't get caught 2-on-1s, and it's almost happened already. It's too early for that. You know, the defense don't have to get involved with scoring a goal just yet.
Ladouceur backhand to the center. I'm sure Liut will take it any time that Ogrodnik wants to drop it to Basil McRae, and the Nordiques are whistled for the offside. 17:50 to go here in the third period, and it's 2-1 Quebec.
The goaltender's got to be living good or doing something right.
Basil's a little bit out of his range from there. Here's a drive by Silton, and that's deflected wide. Kleinendorf to Francis. He one-hands it to Anderson. Shoots, and it's steered away by Gosselin. Peter Stastny finally gets it away from Kevin Deneen. Around for Anton. 3 years as junior. Up. Pokes it by Kleinendorf. Scotty gets help from Ladouceur. Kleinendorf just came back from a back injury and then injured his knee in practice. And missed the final weekend of the season. Rochefort sends it off Peter Stastny's stick. Ladouceur races back. Lane Lambert's right on him. Evison lost the handle. Hunter slips in there, centers, Goulet shoots, and Liut was ready for it. Kershaw starts it back. Well, Liut held Goulet off on 11 of 12 shots in last year's series. And he's had Goulet's number thus far tonight. Norman Rochefort with a pass that hit Dale Hunter.
It's still amazing how Goulet can get shots off. He got that shot off, and Liut was forced to make a decent save.
Evison backhands to Babbage. He's held up by Rochefort. He lost it to Gavin. Gavin takes the shot, saved by Gosselin. The rebound comes back underneath the two fallen players. 16:08 remaining in the third, and Quebec continues with a 2-1 advantage.
Normand to Rochefort lost the puck to the left of Gosselin, allowing Stu Gavin to get an opportunity to score, but Gosselin made the save, and Rochefort fell on the puck.
Randy Moeller bounces the puck back to center. We're 4 minutes into the third period. McDermott gives it to Ferraro. Ogrodnik's there for it. There's a long lead pass. It skips to Gillis, poked away, and Cote brought it in offside.
Now watching Paul McDermott with the puck in front of the Nordique goal, and he tried to backhand a pass to Jarvis. This is not the time of the year. The Stanley Cup doesn't suggest pretty plays. It suggests results. You got to drive it towards the net any chance you got. The closest guy towards the net has to go to the net.
That's a simple playoff formula. Skate, score, and win. Good guy, Coach.
You have to do it in that order, too, you know. And the Quebec Nordiques are putting a fourth into that hit.
They certainly have exhibited that tonight. Been a tough one, but the bulk of our 123 or so penalty minutes took place in the first period. There's a shot that's wide as Anderson had it batted away by Anton Stastny. Francis scoops it up. Here he comes. Glenville joins Francis and Deneen. Siltonen got that stick tied up in there. Ronnie couldn't drop it. Risto Siltonen has been the model of defensive decorum tonight.
Wow.
Here's Anderson shooting, and it's deflected away by Picard. Around for Huff. And Peter Stastny backhands it down the ice.
Rick, would you explain to me what that means? I know he's played pretty good. I assume that's what it means.
That's exactly what it means. Known for his offensive talents, he's played pretty solid at the other end, too. Hunter with a long lead. Goulet is well tied up by Merzen. That lively carom is played by Liut. Francis out for Anderson. Drives it in on goal, and Gosselin kicks it out. Both teams complete changes. Merzen makes the play to Kleinendorst. Evison hands it to Turgeon. Looks for Merzen. Gavin recovers. And it's a hand pass from Rochefort to Brown. And Hunter tries to stir things up on the far side with Evison again, but they're kept apart. I don't think there's much energy left in the players for that at this stage of the game.
I wonder if Hunter and Evison ever get together in the summer. I don't think so for some reason. No, I'll tell you what. I don't think Quebec would trade Hunter for Evison, and I don't think Hartford would trade Evison for Hunter.
I think you're looking at two very valuable players to their teams. Hunter obviously has had a tough time this year with the ankle injury, keeping him out of 34 games, and his skating is not reputed to be what it was before the injury. But certainly the Whalers know the value of Dean Evison. And his 22-goal, 59-point season this year. Ray Ferraro, a man who has not played all that much, but has produced offensively when called upon, and he is back out with Tippett and McDermott. They rule that the faceoff was conducted unfairly, and Ron Finn will do it again. Ferraro, a study in concentration. And Tippett helps out. Backhander save by Gosselin. He gave it up to McDermott, and Gosselin had to cover that one as Tippett stormed through there. Steve Finn. Quenneville keeps it into the zone. Quenneville keeps battling. Gets good position to make the play to McDermott. Moeller tugs at McDermott. Yanks him out of there as Ogrodnik backhands it out through center. Babbage is back for it, and he leaves it for his defense partner, Joel Quenneville, who missed a 42-game stretch this year with that separated shoulder in Boston back in December.
I think you're also going to see Joel get stronger as this series goes on. He's played a lot tonight, and he's going to be exhausted tonight for sure, but this is good conditioning for him.
This is his 10th game back as Dana Merzen retrieves the puck for Scott Kleinendorst. It's 2-1 Quebec with 13:15 to go in the third period. John Anderson, who's really been an offensive force for the Whalers tonight, is held up by the Stastny brothers. The card goes to Silton. Peter Stastny with Huff breaking. Young Mike Huff puts it in front, and Francis is there to steal it. Anderson swings out. He'll dump it in, allowing Deneen to go to work in there. Robert Picard skates it out. Nice move. Play continues as Merzen hands it to Deneen. He charges through. He shoots a save. He gets the rebound. He continues to battle Silton.
I can tell you one thing, Goslin's been watching films of Kevin Deneen. He knew exactly where he was going to shoot. He just stayed straight up on the short side.
Francis had his shot deflected by Rochefort. Lambert gets it free to center ice to Anton Stastny. Rochefort sends in Lambert. His drive is off the glove of Liut. It's chopped away by Babbage. Hunter keeps working for it. Rochefort takes over. Just over 8 minutes gone here in the third, and Hunter's pushed off the puck by Lanasour. Sylvain Turgeon gives it to Gavin. Evison charges in there. He gets position on Brown. There's no one to give it to. Brown gets it away to Goulet. Brown follows up. Goulet snaps one off, and it's over Liut's shoulder. Here's Stu Gavin with his blazing speed, tries to split the defense. Evison follows up, and he sends it wide. Tippett shoots, saved by Gosselin. Tippett is out there, and he couldn't get it in front. Finds Evison. He scores!
3 strikes and you're out. This is Dean's third chance, and he put it away. And a great pass from Tippett. Great work by Tippett. Great intelligence by Tippett. And he finds Dean Evison in front of the net by himself, and he didn't miss this one. Look at this play by Tippett. A little, boy, oh boy, look at this offensibility. Right over to Dino, and Dino drives it past Goslin, who's had his number for most of the evening. They're my guys out there now that did it. Look at this pass. Nice pass. Dino, glove side, quick. Tell you one thing. Win, lose, or draw. Look at these fans. They love it, don't they, Rick?
They sure do, and they've been waiting for this moment for a long, long time tonight. The Whalers have trailed for most of the game. Stastny put Quebec in front at the 1:59 mark, and Quebec has led ever since. Now Evison ties them at 8:48 with his first from Tippett. Slides it over to Kleinendorf. McDermott sends it into Tippett. Tippett the only assist on that goal. He's rubbed out by Brown, and here comes Paul Gillis. Gillis takes the shot. He's knocked off balance by Merzen. Kleinendorf's double team. Rolls it ahead to Ferraro. Ray has to regroup. Merzen gives it to Kleinendorf. Here's Ferraro. Gains that line, and Anderson just beat him across the line offside. 10:31 to go. Third period, and the Whalers have caught Quebec.
Saying to himself, teams playing defense right now. We're in control of this game. What are you laughing at, Rick?
Just excited here as Kevin Dineen brings it in, shoots, and it's just wide. Picard gets rid of it. And it's poked through center by Anton Stastny. Glenville gets it to Anderson, who hustled back to get onside. Savage on a turn on Peter Stastny. Gets it to Dineen. Francis takes charge. Three Nordiques are back. Anderson gets it off the poke check. Huff met him with a stiff slash. Francis to Dineen. Poke check by Gosselin. Huff controls it in traffic and clears it. Now Picard and Dineen continue to trade swipes at each other behind the play, and Ron Hogarth's going to let him play. Dineen is hammered by Rochefort. Lane Lambert. Checked by Kleinendorf. Passes behind Goulet, and it's Turgeon to turn it around to Dineen. Oilers look to complete the line change. Fans wanted a penalty as Rochefort took down Turgeon. They don't get the call.
I'll be very surprised if there is another single penalty in this game. There might be a couple coincidentally.
Sylvain Turgeon busts in there, looks for help. Here comes Evason shooting, and it's blocked by Hunter. Hunter with Evason working on it. That's been a great matchup all night. Here's Mercer. He's forced wide by Rochefort. Turgeon looks to get another penalty and doesn't get it. Gavin took an elbow from Hunter. Lambert bumped by Mercer. Ferraro keeps it in. Turgeon reaches it. Can't center against Brown. Well, the going is tough. Here's Hunter. Goulet knocks it down, and Quebec wants a quick change up, and Kleinendorf moves it to Gavin. Gavin fires, and it's steered away by Gosselin. Tippett scoots in there. He's run off the puck by Cote. Armand Rochefort out for Quebec. Big drive is over Liut's head. Whalers are back in the flow of things after being stagnant in the first couple of periods. They were held in check pretty well by Quebec in all manner of tactics employed by the Nordiques. McDermott blasts his man Gillis, and the Nordiques are looking for a penalty. Now Gillis took a swat at McDermott, and Hogarth is going to call something here. We'll see what he has in mind when we come back. 7:47 to go in the third, and it's a 2-2 tie.
Would call a single penalty, but we're going to see right here that McDermott clearly runs Gillis from behind, and Hogarth had to call this. There's no doubt about it, as he almost beheaded him. Not a very good penalty at this stage of the game, Rick.
No, it is not, and the Whaler penalty killers really have to hitch up their belts now.
Well, they're capable of that. It took a penalty of that nature. I mean, that was so obvious right in front of Hogarth that Hogarth had to call it. Usually at this type of 2-2 Stanley Cup game late in the third period, you know, you let it go. But he couldn't let that go.
Quebec on its fourth opportunity, and Glenville simply sends it down the ice. This potent Quebec power play has been held without a goal thus far. And we get an offside call against Quebec, and Goulet and company will have to regroup. 7:32 remaining here in the third period, and the time just ticking away, just beginning to anyway, on the McDermott penalty. The Whalers have tied this game up. Anderson and Evason have scored for Hartford. Evason at 8:48 here in the third period, and the Whalers want to hold the Nordiques at even ground in this situation.
Rick, we were just looking at Michel Goulet, and he's played a heck of a game tonight. When they dropped the puck to open this hockey game, he went 100 miles an hour through the whole game. Remember we saw him in Quebec last time? He didn't look like he was giving much effort, even though they got the winner in the insurance goal, and we didn't pick him as a player of the game or anything. He's playing a whale of a game tonight. He's really working.
Joel Quenneville, who is working extra hard on the penalty-killing units, gets rid of that puck. A minute 32 remaining on the McDermott call.
Because the final in Montreal, the Canadiens whooped the Boston Bruins 6-2. I really thought the Bruins would do good against them this evening. They were up for it, and they really weren't close.
There's no stopping the Canadiens. They finished the season with a 9-game winning streak, unbeaten in 10 straight, and well, they just rolled over Boston tonight, and the Bruins have been playing very well.
Funny score. The LA Kings are leading the Edmonton Oilers 2-1.
Keep an eye on that. The Kings split the 4 games in Edmonton this year. Each club had a win, and there were 2 ties. So they have proven certainly over the years to be a tough opponent for the Edmonton Oilers. And Quenneville once again clears it down the ice.
I think that will be a high-scoring series. That was at the 1-minute mark of the first period. No, it wasn't.
Here's John O'Grodnick. Liu holds it up for Kleinendorst. He works it away to Tippett. O'Grodnick's in on him. Tippett slips away without a stick. Waits for help, makes a hand pass to Kleinendorst. And we'll have a face-off with 59 seconds remaining on the Quebec power play. They're 4.
You know, one of the big assets in killing penalties is intelligence. We're looking at a man with high intelligence right here, Dave Tippett. He saw he's in a little trouble in this situation, didn't panic or anything, and he just scooped the puck with his hand towards Scott Kleinendorst to get the whistle. A lot of players don't think of that.
When a team is gearing itself toward the playoffs, they say the last 10 games are very important. And you can see in the last 10 games for the Whalers, Dave Tippett's game has been raised another level or 2 as he has really come to the fore for this club as a young leader on the team with his defensive talents. And Liu smothers a loose puck. Now Hunter sticks his nose and the blade of his stick in there, trying to unnerve Mike Liu.
Sometimes it's tough to tell the difference between the blade of his stick and his nose. But there's, as I said, Rick, there's 21 teams in the NHL, and every one of them would like to have Dale Hunter, including the Whalers, anyone.
He scored some big playoff goals over the years for the Nordiques. The Montreal Canadiens can tell you about that. Here's Brown with a shot for the point that's wide. Dave Tippett gets it away from Silton, and it's a 2-on-1 with Jarvis. Jarvis had it swatted away by Brown. 39 seconds to go on the power play. Hunter winds it up to Silton, who had 8 of his 10 goals with a man advantage this year.
Pretty good play by the rookie Brown, defending that 2-on-1.
Peter Stastny tied up Evason, so the play is still in the zone, and Evason gets it out to center. 15 seconds remaining on the penalty to McDermott. Under 6 minutes remaining, 3rd period. We are tied at 2. Here comes Evason, and he will just send it down the ice so that fresh troops can climb off the bench.
Great job by the Whalers, Rick. Very great because the time, the score, the situation.
And they handled the Nordique power play very well there. Here's a pass, and McDermott steals it. Leads it back for Dineen. McDermott charges through. He pulls by the hip check of Rochefort. He runs into Moeller. Cote and Dineen battle for it. Babbage pinches in. Fires to Dineen. He hit the side of the goal. Kevin Dineen in front. The shot saved by Gosselin and McDermott. Let it go. Ladouceur keeps it in, but only momentarily. And now we've got Ladouceur entangled with Paul Gillis.
What a save by Gosselin as all this nonsense taking place. Tremendous save by Gosselin.
As they sort it out, we'll take a break. It's 2-2 with 5:07 to go in the 3rd.
Paul Gillis, not the most popular person in the city of Hartford, especially in this building when he's playing for the Nordiques. But a pretty hard player. Him and Randy Ladouceur are going to the penalty boxes to serve coincidental penalties. Meanwhile, Gosselin made the save of the night on McDermott. Let's take a look at these. We're going to find McDermott's going to find himself in front of the net. This really hit the side of the net, Kevin, on the goalpost. But anyway, he keeps working at it. He's going to find McDermott and watch his save with the right pad. Wow. That was quick leg work. You must have been watching Mike Liut a lot.
Paul McDermott has scored some big goals this year, only 7 overall, but it seems like every time he scores it means something, and he's scored 2 big ones in this season series. As we look at Randy Ladouceur, he and Gillis are off 2 minutes each for roughing. He beat the Nordiques in this building with a blue line blaster in February on the 28th.
That was a good shot. I was just going to say to you, gee, I saw that goal when we were here doing the game.
Dana Merson tries to play it in, and Lambert digs it free for Hunter. Kleinendorf comes across to chop it away to Turgeon. Oh, and he fans in the pass. Goulet gets it back to Hunter. Saved by Liu. You knew sooner or later he was going to be called upon to make a tough stop.
That's a pretty accurate shot by Hunter. Got it away quickly.
They try the home run to Goulet, and it rolled off his stick. Here's Gavin. Rushford to Brown. Gavin steals. Merson couldn't handle a bouncing pass. Kleinendorf moves it out to Merson. And it's blocked. Anton Stastny races in. Liut got a step on him to knock it down. Peter's shot is off the stick of Mike Liut. What a save. Anton Stastny comes to center.
I don't know if that was going in or not, Rick, but the effort to make the save was unbelievable. Like you said, sooner or later, Liut's going to be a big part of this game.
We're still tied at 2 with 4:01 to go in the third. Under 4 minutes remaining in regulation time as Dave Babbage hurries after that puck with Anton Stastny hanging on him. Here's Anderson out to Denis. Anderson. He'll take Francis's pass. Huff gets rid of it. Babbage pinches in, holding up Anton Stastny. Makes the pass out. It skips off Denis. Huff races after it. Quenneville has the angle on him. The pass is well behind Peter Stastny, and the Whalers quickly turn it around to the 4-on-3. The pass was deflected by Anton, though. Dana Merson hurries back with a puck. It skips away. Denis chases it. Greg Malone pursues him, and Malone comes up with it. The Nordiques clear it. Here comes Ogrodnik scooting in for it. He's wrapped up by Kleinendorf. Alan Cote kept under wraps by Merson. Malone fights his way through there. Merson gets rid of it. Ogrodnik steals it. Back for Malone. Tries to center. Ferraro is on the scene to take it away. The drive by Mulder is wide. Ogrodnik shoots, and it's deflected wide. Ogrodnik tries to center. It's blocked. On the second try, it bounces to Tippett, and away they come. Tippett and Ferraro on the wave. The late man is McDermott. He's sent sprawling on the check by Picard. The waiting Goulet cuts in for the Nordiques. Back to Picard. He rips one. It's blocked by Quenneville. Talk about your saves of the game. That could have been one.
That was a 3-on-2. The Whalers are exhausted right now, and they better get a whistle.
Babbage shoots. Save by Gosselin.
Or a goal.
And the Nordiques will send it down the ice. No icing. Under 2 minutes remaining in regulation time. We'll have 20-minute overtime periods to decide this if we're still deadlocked at the end of regulation. Quenneville hits Evason. Gosselin steers it away from Gavin. Here's Michel Goulet. His pass is deflected, and Evason got a piece of it to throw the play offside, and Lane Lambert and Kleinendorf are set to go. A simple offside turns into an altercation here. Now Goulet takes a pop at Dean Evason, and Goulet, with a bad selection there, he was right over Hogarth's shoulder. Now let's look at Hunter and company.
We know for sure that Goulet's going to go. If he doesn't go, there's something wrong.
Turgeon's yanked out of there by Rochefort. Now Merson's in there. Here comes Brown. Hunter is still battling Gavin.
You know what's the shame of all this, Rick, is that these players are going through this all night. And the last 4 or 5 minutes, outside of maybe a 30-second period by the Nordiques of really controlling the puck around the Whaler net, these players are drained. They're exhausted right now. Best thing to do is, hey, listen, let's finish the game at 2-2. Get organized. They're still going at it down there. Get organized, come out and have a good overtime, and may the best team win.
One guy is never tired, at least for this stuff, is Dale Hunter.
He's the most conditioned for it. It's not like he's a first-time starter.
Going to spend the offseason battling Dave and Mark, his older brothers. Or at least Dave's his older brother. Mark is his junior with the St. Louis Blues. Let's take a minute to recognize the folks from the Connecticut and Western Massachusetts McDonald's restaurants, the Hartford Whalers and 106 WHCN. They have presented free pom-pom shakers to all fans attending tonight's game as part of a benefit for the Ronald McDonald House of Southern New England. Each time a fan takes the punch-out coin from the pom-pom to the Whalers gift store or any concession stand and purchases a team pennant, puck, or pin, 25 cents will be donated to the Ronald McDonald House. It's a great way to cheer for the Whalers and support a good cause. We've certainly seen enough of plenty of those green and white pom-poms tonight. The fans are putting them to good use.
Well, we certainly saw a lot of them when Dean Evison scored the tying goal. Look over at the penalty box, and there's two guys in the penalty box with a minute and 34 seconds left who I'd love to see in the penalty box, Hunter and Goulet, at this stage of the game. Hunter, you could see him before the game in the warm-up. It looks like he's already been through 2 or 3 beats. He's just got that way. I'll tell you one thing, if he was a centerman, Kevin Dineen was the right winger, I don't know what type of left winger you'd have. Who would you need in the left wing? Wow. Probably Semenko.
I'll try to catch up to those penalties for you. I believe everybody got roughing penalties. They're all coincidental. No man advantage situation results. We've got a minute 25 left in the third period, and Dana Merzen is back for the puck. Out for Tippett. Nice play to Jarvis. Andy Mulder fires the pass out for Gillis. Cote had it swatted off his stick by Jarvis. Merzen and Jarvis in there battling along with Alan Cote and Gillis. And the whistle blows.
Both teams have their checking lines on in this last minute and 5 seconds left. He'll be the big change now. Stastny and Huff is coming out, so you can expect Francis, Dineen, and Anderson. Strength versus strength in this last minute.
We look at Ronnie Francis and Dave Babbage talk things over.
Who's played a heck of a game, too, is both Babbage and Joel Quenneville. They've been terrific. A lot of players have been very good tonight. Picard's had a strong game, as he did the last time in here for the Nordiques.
And he's also on the ice, so the coaches want those people involved in the final minute of regulation time as the shot by Huff goes for naught. It's offside at that Hartford line. And you start to wonder a little, Jerry, they're fatigued at this point. We very well could be here for quite a while with overtime. But fatigue can bring about a mental mistake once in a while, and that could decide the hockey game.
Certainly could, but I think in this case, Rick, both teams are equally as tired. I don't think anyone's got an edge as far as being fresh goes.
Dave Babbage ahead for Francis. And the Whalers will start again. Quenneville goes to John Anderson. Next to play to Dineen. Somehow he got it over to him. Dineen can't go over Picard. Babbage keeps it in. The shot is blocked by Robert Picard, and he clears it. It'll be icing against Quebec. And Quenneville is back. 22 seconds remaining in the third period.
The Whalers are going to get a little backing in this last 22 seconds. I'll tell you what the Whalers have been good at all year. Better than their opposition is winning faceoffs and winning big faceoffs. Especially in their end defending them with Jarvis and Ronnie Francis and Dean Evison doing the bulk of the work. And winning faceoffs when they've had to in the opposition's end. And certainly this would be a perfect time to win their faceoff.
Gillis is out there for Quebec, and for all the foolishness that he gets involved in, his ability on these draws is overlooked. He's handled the Whalers pretty well tonight.
As we look at the pom-poms, they're very active now in the last 20 seconds.
It's a good matchup. Francis talks to Deneen.
Ronnie's trying to go to his forehand, as he suggests right here.
Gillis ties up with Francis as the play continues on, and Deneen moves in for that loose puck. Kevin Deneen lost it. Anderson has it. Saved by Gosselin. Quenneville charges toward the net. 5 seconds to go. Here's Ogrodnik. Ogrodnik from the line. 2 seconds. Ogrodnik shoots. He scores. Does it count?
No, it does not count. The green light is on. No goal. The green light is on.
Hogarth is
the red
talking
light's
to the
a no
Whalers.
goal.
They're going to wave it off.
That's the Whalers, Rick. Let's wait till Hogarth reels it out. The coaches are on the ice.
We may not have seen anything yet.
Oh, it's no goal. It's no goal. Look at Michel Bergeron's in the middle of the ice. Rick, the first thing I did was look up and the green light went on. That's why I was so definite in saying no goal. Of course, what I have to say means nothing. It's the decision of Hogarth. I think they've ruled no goal. Tell you what, it was a tremendous shot.
Wow, did he ever crank that? And of course, when the clock reaches 0, the green light comes on automatically and overrides the goal judge pushing on the red.
Here's a shot right here, and he gets everything into this, and he beats Mike Liu. But let's go right. Oh, we couldn't get up higher. The green light was on. I don't know. He's well, let's take another look. Now, you know what? I looked up. There's 6 seconds here. I don't know if it's 5, 4, 3, 2. I guess we could go. One here. Here's the shot. Now, these are, don't forget, Rick, are neutral goal judges. We should mention that. They're neutral goal judges. There's no hometown thing here. The green light is on right now. The red light did not go on. You know, it's automatic, too. The green light goes on.
It's automatic. The only human part involved in it is if this gentleman who works Ranger games at Madison Square Garden is a little late on the trigger, but, you know, he's an experienced goal judge. I don't know. No one is really, except for Basil McRae at this point, skated by the goal judge. They're not objecting to him at all at this point.
No, I think he tried to put the light on as soon as possible, and he couldn't.
You have to assume that. There's no other way to know. And Michel Bergeron, Jack Evans, walking off to the dressing room. He's satisfied with Hogarth's decision that we're going to overtime. Ron Hogarth has had a night he won't soon forget. And Michel Bergeron's not going to forget it anytime soon either.
I wish they'd hurry up and make an announcement. I mean, obviously, from what's happening in the attitude of the Quebec organization, the team, it's not going to count. But I would like to see him make an official announcement. I guess this answers all, right? This tells the story.
The Nordiques have all but left the ice, just a few stragglers out there, and Bergeron is being told to get to the dressing room. Simon Nollet and Guy Lapointe, 2 of the assistant coaches, are trying to calm him down a little bit. But when the little tiger gets wound up, look out. That's Jim Christensen talking to him.
Rick, I wish Hogarth would get to make an announcement here. We're all sitting here. We know that it's not going to count, but there's a lot of people here who don't know that. Make the announcement. No goal as the green light went on before the puck entered the net.
Now Hogarth is right into the penalty table. Here's the shot again.
This is a great shot. There's no doubt about it. He beats Mike Liu in the short side. Mike gets a piece of it, but it zings up. The power of the shot.
There was no goal. Time had expired.
That's what we're waiting to hear. No goal. Time had expired. And I don't care who got it. If Quebec or Hartford got it, it was a right call.
Not much else you can say. The Hartford Whalers saved by a fraction of a second. They will go to overtime. We will have a 15-minute intermission, and we'll be back with more Stanley Cup play from the Civic Center in just a moment. 3 after 60 minutes. And the only goal of the third period, Dean Evison scored it from Dave Tippett at 8:48. And the Hartford Whalers are very fortunate, Jerry Cheevers, to be sitting in the dressing room right now planning their attack for overtime. Back at the Civic Center, we're deadlocked at 2 after 60 minutes of play. We're at the intermission before our first 20-minute overtime period, and our guest is Wayne Babbage, who
always make sure there's one guy back. We're going to make sure there's one guy back, but I think we're going to go in with 2 men and try and end it off quickly.
I know David's been struggling with that hip problem dating back over a year now. He's been struggling with the thing. It's been worse sometimes more than others. He seems to be moving very, very well tonight.
Well, you know, he's been anxious, you know, like, as of late. We're excited, you know, we've come back, and we've got to keep going after.
Okay, Wayne, I know you've had a long battle back from injury yourself, and congratulations on getting yourself back. And I know you're ready to go when the call comes.
Oh, we're ready. All of us are ready.
Okay, Wayne Babbage is our guest here at the intermission between the third period and our first overtime period. And Jerry and I will return with more from the Civic Center for the game tied at 2 in just a moment. Period from our first overtime period, and the Whalers getting in there by just a fraction of a second before that Ogrodnik shot bounced in off of Liut that would have given Quebec a last-second victory in regulation time.
Here as he retrieves the puck, because I did look up. By the time he releases the shot, it's like 1 second, and the tick is going on. But he drives this shot. It hits Liut and zings right up to the top of the net. Great shot, but I looked up again, and the green light was on. We can't see it here in the screen. No goal because we're going into overtime.
And that brings us to the start of overtime as the Whalers and the Nordiques are just about set to go. Tied up at 2. As you see the final between Montreal and Boston. And the Canadiens, Jerry, were victorious.
Really, I thought they'd have a tougher time, but they seemed to win in a gallop tonight. 6-2 final, Montreal. Rangers leading 3-0. The Islanders ahead of the Capitals 4-3 after the Caps have been up 3-0. St. Louis leads 3-1. Detroit leads 2-1 in the third periods.
Peter Stastny and Picard, Anderson and Evason, the goal scorers in this game. As the Nordiques drive it in. Gillis looks to center, does it hit Ogrodnik after it bounced off Merzen. Cote with a pass that's deflected by Jarvis on the sellout crowd of 15,126.
Rick, when you're in the dressing room between the third period and the overtime period as a coach, one thing, the most important thing you tell your players is, when in doubt, aim the puck towards the net, such as Cote did here, and it was deflected in the stands. But when you have nothing to do with the puck and you cannot figure out what to do, just put it towards the net. And 2-2 Los Angeles and Edmonton, and the Calgary Flames are going to hit 2-1 against Winnipeg and Calgary.
We've had 141 minutes in penalties in this one, most of them taking place in the first period. Things have calmed down with the rough stuff. And we're in overtime. Jarvis against Gillis on the face-off. McDermott can't get it by Rochefort. Lets it go, and it's wide of Liut. Gillis just ran right over Mike Liut. And Hogarth halts play. The net is dislodged. Liut is okay as he gets up. But you knew exactly what Gillis's intent was, heading for the net.
One of the things you don't do in overtime also is we're going to see Paul McDermott and the right boards give up the puck too easily. Now this puck is shot towards the net, and here's Gillis as Mersden pushes it into him. You know, you're usually not, you don't try and get involved with a goaltender, especially a guy like Liut who really doesn't bother anyone, but not Gillis. Anyway, there's no penalties called here, but you got to be a little methodical in overtime coming out of your end. You know, you don't play it like it's the last 20 seconds of a game and you want to ice the puck and all that. Be a little methodical. What Paul McDermott did in that particular situation was he had control of the puck and he just shot it off the boards and the defenseman intercepted. You got to hold on to it at that position on the boards near the points. Don't give it up.
Jack Evans will send out Babbage and Quenneville to back up Francis, Deneen, and Anderson. Here's what the two teams did in overtime during the regular season. The Whalers beating the Rangers and the Canadiens in overtime. You're looking at one of the goal scorers in overtime, Ronnie Francis. Here's Siltanen shooting and a save by Liut. Of course, in game 1 of this series last year, Sylvain Turgeon scored at 2:36 of the first overtime to give the Whalers the game 1 victory 3-2. And the Whalers went on to split 2 overtime games with the Canadiens. In the Adams Division final, their loss proved to be their death knell on the goal by Claude Lemieux. Here's a shot by Peter Stastny and handled by Lemieux, and he swats it away to Denis. Kevin's shot hit Rochefort. Kevin charges after the rebound, got it in front. Merzen can't get to it in time, and the play's offside. Wayne Babbage said he thought each team would go on after each other in this overtime. Jerry, do you agree or have a different opinion?
I don't think really that's the Whalers' style, and the way Quebec has played in this building is not really their style. They've really relied on their defensive abilities and being conservative. Overtimes are usually either won in the first 5 minutes or it's a long night, Rick. It's a longer night, Rick.
We've already had a long one tonight as Merzen drives it in. Young Jeff Brown, the 20-year-old out of Sudbury, makes the pass to Goulet. Lane Lambert steps around Merzen. Couldn't get it by Kleinendorf, though. He makes a long lead to Gavin. It's a 2-line pass. You know, Jerry, it seems like we've played the first 4 games of the series already tonight.
A long night, but it's a Stanley Cup. When you mention the word Stanley Cup, a lot of mysterious things happen. But getting back to those overtime records, the Whalers were 2 wins, 7 ties. The Nordiques, no wins, 4 losses, and 9 ties. That's 22 games, and only 6 of them resulted in different scores. You know what I mean? Like there was 2 wins and 4 times out of 22. Let's forget overtime in regular season. But you know why? Because it makes this overtime all the more important. It's obviously very important as it is, but it just makes it unique.
Michel Bergeron's club has dropped several tight ones in the closing seconds. Not only have they lost 4 in the regular season in overtime without winning one, there was a time in early December where Ronnie Francis scored in this building with 2 seconds remaining in regulation time to win it 2-1. And the next night, or soon afterward anyway, Quebec lost a game in Boston in similar circumstances in the closing seconds. So they've had tough luck in these situations, and I'm sure Bergeron's going to chalk up the Ogrodnik incident to that, although obviously time had expired. Here's Ferraro. Trying to get it by Gillis. Craftily does so and gets it back from Tippett. Ray Ferraro holds up. As Tippett cutting in, he's double teamed. McDermott controls it. It's poked back to Merzen. Goes over to Ladouceur. Randy Ladouceur, the wrist shot, deflected, they score! McDermott, I believe, got it.
Great play by Merzen on the opposite point over to Kleinendorf. Great play. Look at everyone, the trainers, everyone's in on this. A tough loss for the Nordiques for sure. They played very well tonight, Rick. Good enough to win. I think Paul McDermott tipped it in. But a great play on the point. Merzen showed great intelligence. He didn't panic. He saw Kleinendorf was open, laid a nice pass, and Scotty went in, made a wrist shot that I think McDermott tipped. Here's a play by Merzen. Scott lets it comes off the boards, walks right in. He's going to lift his right leg. Oh, this is Randy Ladouceur. I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Paul McDermott tipped it between the legs of Gosselin. I got excited. I thought that was Kleinendorf with Ladouceur. Let's look at the other angle. Nice going to Randy Ladouceur. He just makes sure it goes towards the net, like we said. There's McDermott. He tips it between the legs, and there's Bedlam at the Civic Center. And as I said, Rick, they're usually finished within 5 minutes. We go a long time. We are going to make last call. Don't worry about it.
Paul McDermott, who scored 2 goals in Game 2 against the Nordiques last year, has scored plenty of big goals against Quebec in the last couple of seasons, is credited with the overtime winner at 2:20.
Rick, excuse me, if we can get a shot of the ice there, I don't know if we can, but Michel Bergeron just applauded the referees as they went out. Here's another angle. Ladouceur just directs it towards the net.